Oh my goodness, y'all. Sorry about that. Y'all probably just saw that intro playing on a loop. You are now in a video store. It is now 7:15 p.m. And let me tell you what just happened. Excuse me. I was trying to get this started, and I realized that I was all set up and ready to go, except the microphone wasn't plugged in. And I had to scramble to do that, and it was a whole thing. So, it is now 7:15. The video store is open. Sorry for opening it up late today, y'all. Appreciate you being here. I'm going to make sure that I can get eyes on the chat over here. What? That's right, Pathos. The old play the intro 5 times fake out. While I was behind the computer going, shit, no! I pulled out the wrong USB 4 times. Is for this selfie lamp that is just out of frame over here. And I apologize that the TV's not playing anything. Maybe I'll throw something on. I don't know how good Twitch is with catching things we don't have the rights to that are on CRT screens. So maybe we can get away with playing something. I got a fun tape called Fantastic Dinosaurs of the Movies that I like to put on in the background. Cool. Good to have you here, Pathos. You're in a video store, and I had a whole spiel written for this. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see if I can remember what I did last week. It is 7 p.m., and now, no matter where you are in a video store. Your online movie hangout for people who miss hanging out around movies. Hey, I did it. I'm one of your 2 clerks. My name is Adam Protextor, a.k.a. Protextor. I got marble mouth tonight, y'all. Stephanie Thoreson, my co-host and lovely partner, will be joining me in a second here. And what do we do on the show? We hang out, we talk about movies. Generally, we break the show down into 3 parts. The first part is What'd You Watch? Where we all talk about what we watched. We then move into New Arrivals, aka anything that we got in this week, or our unboxing section of the show. And then the third section of the show, as always, is Movie Club. That is where we invite you to join us in watching one movie for the week. During October and a little spillover here, obviously we're over halfway through November now, we've been doing theme weeks. We lost a couple weeks to theme because of the election, viewer drop-off, stuff we expected. So we ended up watching holiday horror this week as our segue from October into the holidays. Stephanie and I watched a good handful of holiday horror movies, eager to talk to you about. And of course, our, not staff pick, our movie of the week was, let me see if I can do this, Leprechaun, there it is, Leprechaun. And Leprechaun was really, really fun. So we'll get to talking about that later. That is our movie club pick. And then my staff pick was Uncle Sam. This bad boy, I don't know if anyone else got to watch Uncle Sam, but if so, we'll talk about that. But for the beginning of the show, for the top of the show, hey, what up? What up, Holden Wook? Good to have you here, Holden Wook. We're just talking about what we watched this week. So I have my little list, but to be honest, I feel like I only watched things that were on theme this week. So I only watched holiday horror. Last week, we talked a little bit about Society. I watched Society. Hello, Stephanie. Which I watched alone, and I watched so that I could bond over it with Vineet, and we did last week. But welcome, Stephanie. And good timing, Steph, because the card that's up right now says follow Flock of Schmeagles on Instagram, which is her.
That's me.
Now it says follow You Are in a Video Store on Instagram. One word, You Are in a Video Store. That is our account. I've actually had that account for a while, but I just renamed it. So some fun collection-y stuff already on there. And then that's where you can follow to keep track of staff picks, theme weeks, movie club, all that jazz, and special events, because we'll get there eventually. Special guests, we'll get there eventually. And you were tuned into UltraLoop. This is a channel run by us. Sorry, you want to say hi? I've just been...
Hi. Sorry,
I'm
pulling up the chat on my phone because, as you know, those of you who are here regularly, I have a hard time squinting and seeing the chat from over here. And I want to say hey to y'all.
Here, I can also open up this. I can also bust this font on up.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Look, I like it because it makes the video of us smaller and lets us see the user. Now, I don't even want to know how many people are watching. Because you know what we learned recently is that we actually, first of all, thank you.
Yes, also, yes, thank you. Hello, I'm Stephanie. I'm a video store employee and / co-host. thank you to y'all, our regulars. Just got my little prebiotic bubbly.
Ooh, prebiotic bubbly. That's so nice. Well, we've already got Pathos sharing some stuff Pathos watched, which is awesome. I know we're going to want to talk about these. And the other thing I wanted to say was, if you are someone who's been watching this stream after the fact, also thank you. Because we recently, going back to UltraLoop is run by us and Alon Rachowski and Keelan Haynes. And the four of us have just been kind of like building this up. And we had a little meeting the other day, and we took a look at numbers we never look at. And people are watching the video store stream afterwards.
Yes.
And so thank you. We're going to start archiving them on YouTube to make it a little easier, and clipping out portions as well. We're figuring this out. We're getting there.
Yeah, so thanks y'alls.
Yes, thanks y'alls.
Thanks y'alls.
Hey, thanks y'alls. I can't seem to get my view nice on this. Here, let's see here. Come on, baby. There it is. Okay. Cool. So, what did we watch? We watched holiday horror movie stuff, and I guess we'll get into that a little later. Pathos watched. Okay, first of all, let's go in reverse here. Watch Runaway, which Tom Selleck plays a cop who takes out malfunctioning robots, including housemaid bots and crop dusting bots. Is that a Michael Crichton movie? I have to know.
Inquiring minds need to know.
Because Michael Crichton, it sounds like Michael Crichton. Let's see here. It is directed by Michael Crichton, written and directed by Michael Crichton. Okay, so I've seen this movie, Pathos. I've seen it years ago. That's how I knew that. Because Michael Crichton, this is 84. All y'all know him as Jurassic Park dude, right? I don't know where my copy Jurassic Park's in the other room. Michael Crichton, Jurassic Park novelist. Y'all know who we're talking about. He really tried out the Jurassic Park idea a lot before doing Jurassic Park, especially with robots that were malfunctioning. Runaway and Westworld being the big ones. Westworld actually being about a theme park malfunctioning, but it's technological. And then eventually he gets the dino idea, and they're all about the folly of man. The dang housemaid bot goes all murder hobo. I remember that. Yeah, that's a fun movie. Man, Runaway. So I don't know. I don't think my friend Max watches this show. Thanks a lot for the support, Max. Actually, Max was being a very supportive friend earlier, and so is Vineet. I don't know if he's watching with us right now. I don't think so. Not yet. But Max, my friend Max, has a very good collection of Michael Crichton sci-fi movies, and he's the reason that I was aware Runaway existed.
Oh, well, how about that?
I worked at a video store with him. There you go. There you go.
Isn't that cute?
Maybe we'll be a guest. We'll have him as a guest on here sometime.
Oh, I love that. That's so fun.
It would be fun. And then going backwards, let's see. Okay, so you watched some stuff we can definitely talk about, Pathos. Wishmaster, Broken Arrow, Face Off, Major League. So Wishmaster we watched a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, did we talk about Wishmaster?
I don't know how deep into Wishmaster we got or didn't get. Like, do you remember, Pathos? Did we talk about this on the show?
I'm just wondering if that is like an organic,
organic mind meld?
Yeah, or if it was because of us.
Or was it because of us? Yeah, did you take that recommendation? Okay, so first of all, Pathos, we have a delay, but not sure. Missed the last few weeks. Fair. Well, then maybe we just mind melded. That's wonderful. Thanks. It's good to have you back. Also, just in case we have any new viewers tonight, we'll just throw this out there. We love having people in the chat. You should really consider this being like the physical space of a video store you walked into. Don't be intimidated by us. We're never going to be dicks about movies, even if we disagree. We're going to keep it real nice. We are here to serve. We are here to give you recommendations and provide a good space. We are not here to be pretentious or judgmental. So we love having you in the chat. We want to know what your opinions on things are, and we want to know what you recommend. And always feel free to ask us for recommendations of stuff we dig as well. So with that in mind, let's talk about Wishmaster. Let's both talk about Pathos. There's a little delay, obviously, so let's talk about what we think first. You go first. I just talked forever.
I'm trying. It's funny. I'm trying to remember Wishmaster.
You liked it a lot. You liked it more than I did.
I did. I remember like having a good initial reaction to it, and you having a bad initial reaction to it, and then us both kind of like leveling each other out. Like I maybe liked it a little less, and maybe you liked it a little more after we talked about it?
Yeah, it took me some time because at first I was just like, I know what it was. It's that the movie starts with such a bang with all the like genie stuff and all the weird effects. Excuse me, and then it just gets so CG, 90s CG so quickly, and I just like was a little turned off by that.
I didn't think that it was aggressively CGI'd.
Really?
I didn't.
I dug it. I mean, I would still like to watch the next one. And I do kind of like the idea. It reminded me almost of Marvel's Purple Man, the villain from Jessica Jones. Like, I do like the idea of a villain. Oh, you know what it also very much reminded me of is Anya from Buffy.
Yeah.
Just like getting people to talk themselves into something. I mean, it's a monkey's paw conceit is the plot. And I think it's a little silly, but it was fun to just have a bad guy whose whole thing is like getting people to wish, and then, here let's play a little game with you at home in the chat. Let's play a little Wishmaster on each other. Show how the Wishmaster does it. You tell us a wish, and we'll tell you the ironically tragic way in which the Wishmaster fulfills your wish. Here, you go first, Stephanie. What's your wish?
Oh. Like a
just a wish. Make a wish. That's right. Yeah.
I wish I had a hamburger.
Oh no, you do have a hamburger, but the cow's carcass is permanently in your living room and rotting. You should have made your wish clearer.
Oh, I wish I had a hamburger with no rotting carcasses.
All right, you have a hamburger that's 5 years old and you die from meat poisoning.
Oh man.
Wishmaster wins again.
Well,
I liked the gin as well.
Danger dab.
Andrew Devoff. I liked him too. He was an interesting casting choice. He was like,
yeah, the guy who played the
gin.
The gin.
Yeah, and this was the second genie horror movie that we watched this year. The other one being The Outing, which was. Did you watch The Outing with me?
I don't think so.
So The Outing is like a corny little straight-to-video horror movie, also about a bad guy called the Djinn, also about a killer genie, but this Wishmaster had a much bigger budget. Aw, you rewatched... We'll get to that in a second, Holden Walk. We'll get to that in a second. I really liked this actor in Wishmaster as well, because... Kazam. I've only seen Kazam, funnily enough, working at a video store, throwing the tape on during the middle of day shifts. I've never really watched Kazam. And I have a feeling I don't really need to.
Is this one of those, like, Shazam?
No, Kazam is real. Shazam is not real. Shazam is a new DC movie. There's no Sinbad Genie movie. It's just racism, everybody.
No.
It's just people confusing black comedic actors from the 90s as white kids, okay?
No.
Shazam ain't real. I'm not saying you're racist. I'm saying that Mandela effect shit is just people confusing Shaq and Sinbad, okay?
It's just funny because I read Kazam and my first thought was, wasn't that movie called Shazam?
Well, there you go. That's different.
Yes, it is.
I liked Andrew Devoff though. He was not conventionally attractive, but they framed him as this like smoldering silver fox the whole time.
Yeah, but I think that he was attractive in like an approachable way. If he had been too attractive, then the genie, like the evil aspect, wouldn't have read the same way.
Yeah, I get that.
But he was like handsome, but not. He was like disarming in a creepy way.
I get that. He seems like a regular guy who might chat you up that you'd entertain.
Yeah.
Male or female, or regardless of attraction. Okay, now I need to get back to Pathos real quick because the first thing said was Face Off, and Broken Arrow. The also John Woo. So Face Off and Broken Arrow, I want to say, are John Woo's second and third. In reverse order. Broken Arrow is his second, and Face Off is his third U.S. films, and the first one is Bloodsport. Face Off, I think, is like Face Off is earnestly in my top 10 for the 90s. Very earnestly, not even just like that's not me being a fanboy. That's me being like I legitimately revere Face Off as an action movie. I think it's so good. Broken Arrow, I feel like we watched not too long ago. It's like fun. It's not like great, but you can see the promise.
Oh.
Christian Slater versus John Travolta on a train in the desert. John Travolta's a psycho. Christian Slater's a good guy. It's like
Nobel's
Prize.
Nobel's Peace Prize.
Toy Soldiers played the head terrorist. Oh man, I did not know that. That's crazy. Well, that's cool. I remember seeing that movie Toy Soldiers as a kid and it really scaring me. Have you ever seen Toy Soldiers?
When I was younger, yeah.
It's funny, those movies that are just like popular for a moment and we all forget about. Well, anyway, I love Face Off. We should rewatch that.
Yeah, we actually did start watching that like 3 years ago.
Really? Was it too late at night or something?
It was late at night. We both fell asleep watching it on the couch, and then we said, all right, we're going to finish watching Face Off, and then cut to a week later. We should really finish watching Face Off, and then cut to a month later, like, oh, we should just start it over. Okay, sure. And then cut to, 3 years later.
Well, let's watch Face Off.
There you go.
I'm inspired to watch Face Off. Love the opening scene in Broken Arrow. Slater and Travolta doing some boxing, and it's kind of sad how bad they are. See, I know nothing about boxing, so I had no idea.
I was gonna say I feel like I would remember that.
But I do remember this scene. It's them like it's the whole like I'm Christian Slater and I'm trying to be I'm a good soldier, but I'm a little I'm a good guy. I'm a nice guy in this movie. And then
do you have that box in here?
And John Travolta being like, I don't follow the rules. John Travolta's the mercenary. The box for Face Off?
Yeah, no, for Broken Arrow.
No, we can look up the art. You just need to be reminded.
I'm just thinking, like, did we watch this movie?
I don't know.
If so, like...
This is the cover.
No.
You haven't seen it?
No.
So a broken arrow is apparently a term for a missing nuke. And the plot is that Travolta has been passed over for a promotion in the Army or in the Air Force, over and over again. And Slater's like the young kid. And Travolta fucks him over to steal nukes to sell them to mercenaries and like basically be a traitor for money. And then
hold on.
Yeah, and then Slater's got to save the day.
Did we watch this at the beginning of quarantine, aka 17 years ago?
I think we watched it at the beginning of our relationship because I have a list of everything I've watched since quarantine. It ain't on there. I actually started tracking the stuff I watched this year, which is nice because I can remember things that I forgot.
I think maybe we did watch that.
We watched it a few years ago.
I think we did.
Because I think we were like, let's watch Face Off now. And then Bloodsport I've never seen, which I'd love to watch.
Yeah, which was on heavy rotation when I was a kid. Bloodsport.
And Broken Arrow was probably the first like adult action movie I saw.
Yeah.
The first action movie where people said the F word and John Travolta was scary in it. Okay, well we got to go back.
I remember it now.
You remember it
now? It's like, okay. Well, you know what? Actually, I won't say
it's hot in this room. I'm going to take my sweater off while you talk.
Oh, I was going to say, was that just a reveal of your cool shirt?
Oh, no. I forgot I was wearing this shirt. Yeah, I love this shirt.
This shirt? Oh, I just forgot.
I put this on today. I forgot I had it on under that sweater. I put this on today is because last night I was watching T2 really late.
Oh, you know what? If the little bell... If our little bell for the word of the week or the word of the day were to go off here, it would be T2 or Terminator.
Terminator 2. Okay, it's because there was a viral tweet about the special effects in T2, and I really ate it up, and then I watched that, and I put it on, just to put it on, and I accidentally watched the first 40 minutes at like 2 a.m. I didn't mean to, but it's T2. It sucks you in.
What I was going to say is, I wanted to know if you knew what I was going to say about realizing that I had seen that movie.
Not at all.
I was gonna say it's like when. Okay, tell me in the chat if this happens to you or someone that you know, like maybe I don't know, your dad.
Your dad.
Your dad.
I don't know, someone you know, like your dad.
I was just thinking. Okay, so a lot of times we'll start watching a movie, or I will start watching a movie and be like, "No, I've never seen that movie."
Oh, this is classic mom behavior.
And I've never seen that movie. And then cut like 5 minutes into the movie, I'm like, oh, right. I've seen this movie 5 times.
Yes, that's my parents' every movie night in high school for sure. That's why I started making a list because I don't want to. And I don't want to get a Letterboxd account because the greatest joy in my life is watching movies, and the worst thing in my life is the pressure to be on social media. And so I don't want, no shame. Letterboxd is great for a lot of people. I don't want it because I don't want to combine my least favorite thing with my favorite thing. Yeah. So I just started a notes app on my phone. I invented a notes app. I sold it to Apple. They integrated it into their launch software, and now I use that notes app to keep track of all the movies I watch.
Yeah.
And I just started it in quarantine, and it's helpful for that exact reason.
Well, it's always movies that okay, I know in the example I said, I've seen the movie 5 times, but it's a movie I've seen once and that feels similar to any number of movies, like, that has no
genre.
Okay, look, that's not exactly what I meant, but sure.
I'm just being a dick.
It's kind of like that, but it's more so like, it's almost like, well, I don't know. You know what? Let me just put a pin in that and get back to it.
Why don't you marinate and stir that one?
I'm just going to let that one...
Why don't you put that in a Ziploc? Put that in a Ziploc in the fridge overnight.
I'm going to let that pickle.
Put that one pickle.
I'm going to drop that thought in some vinegar and let it pickle.
Okay. And while you pickle...
Mind vinegar.
While you pickle... Mind vinegar. While you pickle that thought, I just want to draw attention to the fact that Holdenwook said, failed to watch anything on theme, no prob, but I did rewatch that glorious movie in your framed poster for the first time. This is one of my prized possession.
Maybe Adam's favorite movie?
An original quad framed poster. Not Adam's favorite movie, Adam and Holdenwook's favorite movie.
Aww,
I don't know if you know, I've talked about my best friend Will growing up, that we collected Neverending Story stuff together. That's Holdenwook.
I know.
You know that. So I still right there, homie. I still right behind the camera on this little shelf over there have my little Neverending Story shelf with 3 copies of the tape, 1 on original release, 1 on re-release, and 1 on beta. Got the Laserdisc down here. Got the DVD. Got both versions of the Blu-ray.
To 2.
By the way, Holdenwook, I'm gonna save up for this. I don't want to buy it yet, but if you got $60 to spare, go on eBay and search Neverending Story Blu-ray Korean, because there's an amazing South Korean special edition that's region free, and I'm just waiting to pick it up because it's a beautiful packaging, and I don't know when the Criterion Collection's finally going to get through their thick heads to put out the Neverending Story, but until then, major Neverending Story fan. How long had it been since All in a Box at your parents' house? Wise. Mine is all scattered. It's in the room somewhere. I know my Orin pendant is around here. I need to be careful because earlier when I was trying to put this on, y'all, I moved my chair and straight up knocked over a Batman Lego Batmobile, and it was bad.
Oh no.
Okay, let's calm down. Just notice you replaced the poster.
Batmobile.
La historia sin fin. La historia sin fin, or Die unendliche Geschichte, as it's known in German. And we've whipped out the it's an original. And we whipped out the first edition copy of the book. Can you hear that dryer
going off?
Borg to Lego. Yes, hold on. Let's talk about Neverending Story real quick though. That's the VHS copy that you have dubbed in Spanish was just because we were on a collecting spree. I remember that once we bought all of them and went to your cousin's, it was your grandparents' house, and we laid out our entire collection and put little Post-its on what was what. Anyway, I'm jealous of that copy because that's that Spanish dubbed copy is really difficult to find now. Okay, I'm sorry to be rude. I just wanted to finish that thought before I lost it for Will. I can hear the dryer. Benit says they can't at home. But I'll get it.
I'm gonna do it.
I'll get it.
I'm gonna do it.
I'll go get it.
I'm gonna do it.
I'll go get it. I'll go get it. I'll go get it. I'll go get it. Have you seen the Neverending Story? What was it like?
Have I seen the Neverending Story?
How long had it been? Vinit said, I feel like the only time I document movies I watch is on Instagram during Halloween, and every once in a while if it stands out. I get asked about Letterboxd. I'm sorry, I missed a few. Letterboxd 2 in my Baltimore circles, I'm known as the movie guy. That's awesome, as you are deserved to be known. People are surprised I don't keep a record. People love Letterboxd. I just
I'm gonna get it.
I just don't want to. I don't want to add an app to my phone.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it. Letterboxd, the dryer.
Yeah. And Vinit, Instagram, Vinit and I both do this. In fact, if you want, for a little fun, if you're interested, you can look up hashtag Super Spooky Scary 20, and you can see what Vinit and I did this year. I'll drop it in the chat just in case. if you are so curious, you can look up that hashtag and you'll see what Vineet and I did, which is take a picture of every horror movie in October and of the title screen, use the same hashtag, and it ends up being a fun little scroll afterwards. And Vineet, yes, I did briefly go viral for a Neverending Story tweet. It was right after, I don't know, do you know this, Will? It was right after Stranger Things did an episode in which two characters sang the Neverending Story theme to each other. And there was a little brief moment on Twitter called Neverending Story Challenge where people took videos of themselves at home singing and dancing around their rooms. Tammy Stronach, who I know Will knows as the Childlike Empress, posted something about it, and I responded to her, and I made my own little Neverending Story sing-along video where I like pulled out everything I owned about the Neverending Story, and she retweeted it, and it was a high point of my life. Oh, that's amazing. So Will used to run chat rooms and fan message boards for Neverending Story back in the day. Made a lot of friends, like overseas friends. I'm trying to remember, Grogram the Lion was a girl who was in there a lot. I remember her. She was wonderful. I did not know you had her as a guest in your chat room. That's amazing, dude. She's a very gracious person with her fans, it appears. So, okay, it had been 8 or 10 years, jumping around the chat here, 8 or 10 years since Will last watched TNES, and still had most of it memorized. I feel like I need to space it out too, so that it retains that special hit. I got the Blu-ray and watched the Blu-ray, and it was weird because it was nice seeing all the effects done so crystalline, but there was some color grading that was done that just felt like when you see something 1,000 times on VHS and then you see like a color corrected Blu-ray version, it felt strange. But anyway, that's all I have to say about that. It's been a while for me too, but God bless the Neverending Story. I still got my Orin tattoo on my back as well. Well, cool. What else did y'all watch? Did y'all watch anything fun out there? And by the way, when's the last time you watched Neverending Story 2? I'm going to tell y'all, I'm actually very superstitious about Neverending Story 2 because and don't get sad. It's been years. I'm at peace with it. But the last time that I watched Neverending Story 2 was with my childhood dog, Buffy, on the day that she was to be put down. She was like 16. She had renal failure, and we had a vet appointment to take her in, and I laid with her on the couch and we watched Neverending Story 2. And now I am like, I want to rewatch it, but I have this weird superstition that if I do, something I love is going to die. So I like have a weird thing where like every time I'm about to put it on, I look at my dog and I'm like, no, I can't.
Oh,
wow. What if it's cursed? Okay. Vineet watched some stuff. Vineet watched 2 movies I've never heard of, which is awesome. I want to hear all about that. And then The Phantom. Here's what I'm gonna do. I have to pee already. I know. I have the bladder of a small dog. Buffy, yes.
Buffy. Aww.
Yeah, Will knows Buffy. She was the world's angriest, sweetest dog. I used to, when I'd come home too late, she would bite and bark really loud and wake my parents up. So when I had to sneak in, I would. She was a little terrier. Her bite wasn't that bad, so I like had a method where I'd like wrap my sweater around my hand and put it down her mouth so she could bite something when I got in.
Aww.
She's a cutie. She got possessed by things. Yeah, she was possessed by being raised with a little boy is what happened. Okay. She was a good dog. Thank you. And Daisy and Lucy forever, my dude. That was Daisy and Lucy were Will's little pugs. Daisy being the elder pug lady. Aww. And Lucy being the little baby pug, black pug. Anyway, we talk about childhood dogs all night, but I want to get over to Vineet. Okay, before I run to pee, The Phantom. All I'm going to say about this, I rented it once as a kid. The Phantom starring Billy Zane. Do you remember this movie? 90s action movie for kids?
I've probably seen it.
Billy Zane in a purple suit. It was an adaptation of an old comic series. As Vineet said in a text to me earlier this week, this and The Shadow are 2 90s action movies that are based on old comic serials, like serious comic, and I mean like comic strip, like serious comic strips from the papers, the kind that when you're a kid you wonder who reads these. They were both based on those from like the 40s, and neither of them, they both failed to find an audience. But The Phantom was marketed towards kids, and early in the movie, there's a scene where the bad guy tricks another bad guy who he wants to get revenge on. He's like, look under the microscope. And when the guy looks under the microscope and turns the focus knob, 2 little knives come out of the eye holes and stab his eyes out. Mm-mm. And I was so horrified by the idea that someone would do that to someone else as a kid. Like, I was never scared of monsters really as a kid. I was scared of people being cruel. And that was too much. I turned it off crying. Never have finished it. And radio plays. Of course. Radio plays. Of course. Okay, so the Phantom was charming. That's my 2 cents on the Phantom. Vineet, I've never seen it. I really want to know what you think. And I also want to know what Simon... Well, I'm probably going to Google it on my phone in the bathroom. But Anguish and Simon King of the Witches. What's crazy in that movie that happens off screen, Vineet? We can wait.
Oh, you can wait. You hear the knives and hear him scream.
Oh, it happens off screen?
Oh, in the movie that happens
But early in the movie, like, the bad guy has the microscope and demonstrates for the viewer that when you turn this knob, little knives come up.
It's just, it's just an example of the power of storytelling and visual cues.
Well, it's really, if you want to get formalist with it, it's really what Eisenstein championed in the power of Russian montage and the idea that 2 images can mean individual things, but when you connect those 2 images through the power of montage, you create a third meaning, and that third meaning is cinema. Similar to the Odessa Stairs sequence in Battleship Potemkin, when a soldier is shown in one shot, and a baby carriage is shown in
Adam just muffled his voice. I don't know if y'all could hear that, but just felt the need to emulate the sound of somebody's voice trailing off. Yeah, he's gone. Whew, thank goodness. Did anyone hear my dog bark? Not my actual dog bark, but my sound effect dog bark. If you're interested, I don't know if y'all know this, but I do a little voiceover work. It's like not a big deal. But I love working on sound effects. So I think somebody had mentioned radio plays. So if you have a sound effect you want me to work on, let me know. I got the dog. I got a baby cry. Now my baby cry is good, and it's so good it's bad sometimes because it's creepy. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what I watched this week. If I watched anything that I didn't watch with Adam. I will say that in order to catch up and be able to talk about Midsummer, I did watch Midsummer this afternoon. Yeah, I'm just going to put that on a shelf and we'll save it for the talk later. But, let it be known that I did take the time to step away from, daily duties to consume Midsummer. And I guess, work on sound effects or like whatever, I do in my free time. Yeah. So how's everyone doing? Vineet says he has to step away for a sec. Don't we all sometimes just have to step away for a sec? Think about movies, think about life. Speaking of movies and life, I'm wearing my Lone Star Film Fest sweatshirt. Shout out to Film Fest for pivoting in this wild and crazy time and doing virtual film fests and whatnot. It's definitely not the same, but it's good to see those pivots.
Come on.
Look what you did.
Look what we've done.
Look what you did.
The rest of this broadcast is just too hot for Twitch. We have to blur it. Nerd.
I was trying to get the chat to drop in sound effects that I could work on in the chat, but
This desk is not real, but this desk is solid as a rock, as wood, as pressboard.
That desk is fake.
Oh yeah, these are from an actual. I mean, not that we aren't, but this is actually a photo from a real video store's counter that I found online. Okay. I do not stack up all these movies every week for the show. It's not lying. It's la magique du cinéma.
Yeah.
It's suspension of disbelief.
Wouldn't it be funny though if we like meticulously stacked up the videos the exact same way every single week?
I mean, no, it sounds terrible. Also,
by funny I meant terrible.
I do wish that I could afford one of these. Now we're looking at our monitor over here. I do wish that we could afford one of those glass cases.
Yeah.
Those are fancy. We actually did redo the shelves this week. As you can see, none of these are stacked anymore. They're finally all in a row, and that's because we finally caved and got a cheap shelf to move some of the box sets into the other room. Speaking of box sets, we have some fun unboxings this week, but I don't want to step away from what do we watch just yet. Since we have more viewers than we had at the top, I'm going to redo the spiel real quick. You are watching UltraLoop. And no matter where you are in a video store with your clerks, myself, Protextor.
And myself, Stephanie.
And this is a digital movie hang space for people who miss hanging out around movies. We encourage you to be active in the chat. The only rules are we don't judge each other for not having seen stuff, for liking stuff, for not liking stuff. In general, it's a safe space to talk movies and ask for recs. Okay. I love this idea, Pathos. I think we know what we're going to have to do in April when we get to our April 1st show. And I would be like, oh my God, April seems so far away. But given how this year's been, April's probably next week.
Yeah, it's true.
We're going to be in April. We're going to be like, oh, did you hear we're in our 5th spike of COVID?
Oh boy. Wouldn't it be amazing if we just like did a desk swipe at the end of the April Fool's Day show?
Yes, that sounds awesome. We'll just have to get we'll have to get all of these movies.
Yeah, so let's start that process now.
Yeah, let's go get... I actually do want this... There's one in here that I really want in front of Stephanie that I don't own, and I know that there's probably a Blu-ray of it, but I want this Vista version of Tombstone. I love the packaging. I have the Vista for Unbreakable and Sixth Sense, and I like what they were doing at the time with their Vista series packaging. This is
so random.
Yes, but here's the thing. If you work at a video store, if you're actually at a video store, this is what happens because we, on this show, the stuff behind us is stuff I've decided to buy. And then for, you know what I mean? And like we talk about famous movie, well, semi-famous, but like in a video store, you're just getting, especially this photo's probably from 2006 when DVDs were at their peak. You were just getting movies and movies and movies that everyone's forgotten about since. So there's probably a bunch of random ones. You know, huge in the aughts documentaries about politics. There's a few in there. Tombstone is great. I haven't watched it in years. My high school girlfriend made me watch that, and I was very attracted to her after we finished it.
Is that the Huckleberry one?
Yeah.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yeah, it is. That's that one.
See?
Okay, so Vineet. We just jumped up to 20 viewers. That's incredible. Welcome, y'all. You are now in a video store, digital movie hangout space for people who miss hanging out around movies. We are video store clerks. Feel free to jump in the chat. We love hanging out with you.
We're talking about what we watched this week.
Yes, our show generally is 3 portions. What we watched, what did you watch, talk about, recommend things to each other.
And then our movie club.
Then our movie club stuff, yeah. And we went back down to 11, but 9 people were like, doesn't sound like it's for me. Okay.
I'm out.
Seriously though, I think maybe we just got rated or something, which is awesome. Thanks, welcome. Okay, but Vineet. Anguish and Simon, King of the Witches. Anguish and Simon, King of the Witches. Great job, nerds in the chat. I looked him up on my little tinkle break. Anguish 2015, correct? Simon, King of the Witches 1971, correct? I've never heard of or seen either of these movies. Please tell us if you recommend them or not and what the deal is with these movies. Yeah, just go ahead and let us know because we'd love to know. What did you watch?
I was just talking about that with the chat.
I'm sorry.
No. When you were out of the room, I was trying to remember if I watched anything independently from you, and then I was trying to force people to give me sound effects to work on, and nobody did. Which whatever.
Didn't you watch Brigsby Bear?
No, I didn't.
What did you watch? You watched an indie that night.
I did. I decided I wanted to cozy up with a cup of tea and watch an indie movie.
What was that indie movie?
What the hell? Now, y'all, if I don't have foggy COVID brain, I don't know what I have.
What did you watch? Stephanie was like, I think I'd prefer to do my own thing tonight. I'm gonna make a cozy little cocoon and watch a movie that you probably won't want to watch. Can't remember.
I can't remember. What?
God bless America.
This wild brain fart I'm having.
What is this wild brain fart I'm having?
What is this wild brain fart doing?
Ooh.
What is this wild brain fart I'm having? You've had a brain fart too, you know you do.
That's good.
Thanks.
Okay, well,
All
Holden Look Marathon Back to the Future. God, you talk about a movie I haven't seen in 8 to 10 years. I haven't seen Back to the Future in a while.
Guys, I'm just gonna I'm gonna give some things a goog and see if I can figure out what in the heck
You take your googie time. We're gonna talk about BTTF over here. How was it rewatching Back to the Future? How long had it been for you? Because I know Holden Look for you, I know that's like your dad's favorite movie, so you grew up watching those a lot. And to be honest, you were the one who got me into them. I remember marathoning them with you, and I think the last time that I watched the Back to the Future movies, I think was like 2012. I used to do a thing with my friends at our apartment called Trilogy Thursdays during the summer, where we would marathon a trilogy on a Thursday, and I think that's the last time I watched it. It was like 8 years ago. Back to the Future is perfect. Like structurally, I completely agree. Like everything, it's a perfect script, and the movie is just so well done. 2 and 3, I don't think are bad. I know they're hated on, and maybe I'd feel different if I was a little older and like had grown up seeing them in theater. But I think as someone seeing them all together, you can see the law of diminishing returns a little bit there, but I still think they really work. That sounds like a really fun rewatch, dude. Back to the Future rules.
Is it still spooky season? Because I am scared that I cannot remember that movie.
Oh, poor lady. Well, we are going to talk about horror movies later. Why don't you just look up your Netflix history or something? Because you streamed it, right? You watched it on a laptop?
I did.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. And Leon, the Professional, now Leon is a movie that I've been saying, let's watch Leon for years.
It's been on the queue shelf for a minute.
Was that one you've seen?
No.
You haven't seen Leon? This is what happens every time.
Just like 5 minutes into a movie, I go, oh, I have seen this. Adam will constantly go, you haven't seen that?
Not in a judgmental way. It's
not in a judgmental way.
Me being excited.
I'm actually
like, oh my God, do we get to
surprised.
watch this? And it's new for you?
Yeah.
I love that. I love when I get to watch one of my favorites with someone who's never seen it. I was feeling that way about T2 the other night. Ding. Because I was watching Terminator 2, and I was just thinking, I think my single biggest wish as a film fan would be, I wish that I'd had the opportunity to watch Terminator 2 after watching The Terminator without having any idea of the plot of T2. Because I know that, from the promo material early on, it was clear Arnold's is the good guy. My cousins told me that when I was a kid, when they showed it to me. Like, in this one, he's the good guy. Rewatching it, the movie gives you zero indication that that's the case. And if you're just coming in with Terminator on the mind, it completely sells that Robert Patrick's character is a human coming back to protect John Connor. And in that hallway, hallway behind the arcade in the mall sequence, when Arnold pulls out the shotgun and says, "Get down," there's I so wish that I could experience that holy shit moment.
Yeah.
You watched it because you wanted your girlfriend to see it, and all you told her was Natalie Portman. That's wonderful. Natalie Portman is amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
And Gary Oldman is too.
I've seen a lot of, like many things, through osmosis. I've seen a lot of parts of that movie.
Really?
But watching it start to finish, like I've seen the scene with them in front of the window a million times, or like not in front of the window.
I don't remember that well. It's been a while.
No, I think that's on the cover. I think I'm conflating two things, but I've seen. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I am so distracted by trying to figure out what this movie was that I watched. My brain is like on Mars. You know what I need, y'all? I need some more brain vinegar.
keep it pickling.
I gotta keep pickling.
Keep it pickling.
I gotta keep pickling.
Oh, that it was Natalie Portman's introduction. It is her first role. So good. And Gary Oldman. I mean, Gary Oldman is like on fire in that movie. You know that, right? That Gary Oldman, like, everyone. Oh, I can't do it. God, that's such a good movie.
I thought that said Leon is a good witch.
Leon is a good witch. You know who I want to hear more about? Simon, this king of the witches. Oh, Great Job Nerds has to step away for a sec. Okay, that's totally cool, Great Job Nerds. Well, shit. There's a lot of good stuff. I want to watch Back to the Future again. I want to watch Leon real bad. I kind of want to watch that tonight. A little palate cleanser after so many weeks of horror.
Mm-hmm. We all love horror movies here, but, raise your paw if you're feeling like you need a break.
I just want to break structurally because I was watching an interview with Brian Yuzna the other day. Vineet, Great Job Nerds, inspired me to watch Society. And I was watching an interview that's on the disc with Brian Yuzna, who directed it. And he was talking about how, horror is often the underappreciated, is often shit on by people who are like, what am I trying to say? The gatekeepers. It's often the black sheep of the family in film and often thought of as a dumb genre. And he was saying that, and he was saying it's actually one of the most technical. It's like writing a pop song because you actually have a formula and you stick to it, and it's about how well you can do that formula. And I think that's why I need a break. I don't think it's the screaming or the violence or anything. I think I just need a break from the 3 to 5 act structure that is every horror movie we've watched.
Yeah, we also started watching horror about halfway through September this year, and just it's about half. Is it already?
We've been watching like 2 solid months.
Is it November 17th?
Yeah, it is. My birthday's in 3 days. You can follow me on Instagram for a list of things I want. That's not true. Fifth Element. I mean, Gary Oldman is a shapeshifter. Gary Oldman's the best, man. I shouldn't look at the numbers because I know they mean nothing. But it was just funny because as soon as I said birthday, it went boop, boop, boop. Fifth Element, so good. Gary Oldman is a shapeshifter. He's amazing. What's your favorite Gary Oldman role? I feel like we could do a whole Gary Oldman week on this show.
We could.
And by the way, open to ideas for future theme weeks. We're going to cover holiday horror later and talk about it a bit. Not as rich of a topic as the other. Like, we're not going to come in with some, breakdown of what holiday horror is. It's much sparser. There's not as much of a theme to tease out of the holiday horror movies. But we'll have fun talking about it.
Yeah.
But if you have any ideas for themes, even if that means taking a week off of themes, down for it. Directors, actors, genres that you think are slept on. I don't know. I want to start watching weird stuff again and really watching things that are new to me.
Yeah, we had sort of had an internal discussion as to whether or not we thought the themes felt limiting or fun.
Right. I think they felt fun in October, and now they're feeling a little limiting. Yeah. But yeah, Dracula, Gary Oldman. Is that your favorite Gary Oldman role? That Dracula is amazing, especially at the end when he goes into town and he's got that sweet ass goth boutique look to him. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh my god, I'm gonna pull up a picture.
Is he working a steampunk kiosk at Comic-Con?
He could be, and he would get so laid. Let's look at this.
Oh my god, I nailed that.
Yeah, look at him.
Yeah.
So hot. As Dracula should be. Well, I mean, depending on it. I love the thing how it really shows him. That movie really shows off the concept of Dracula as both a decrepit monster who is truly cursed, the curse of the vampire, as well as the sexy allure and the sexiness of it. It really does a nice job being both, because he's also disgusting for much of the movie. I was rewatching Nosferatu recently, and that was something that, just doing some light reading on it, that was called out a lot as well. It's like Nosferatu being specifically so much about the grotesquerie and...
The what?
Grotesquerie. That's a word, right?
Is that a word?
I don't know. Let's see. I'll look it up. Give it a goo. It is a word. Yes.
Grotesquerie.
Thank you.
Okay, also would be at the kiosk of Steampunk Kiosk.
Nosferatu?
No, grotesquerie.
Grotesquerie would be there, yeah.
It would be Gary Oldman dressed like Johnny Depp, dressed like a vampire, being like, "This is our grotesquerie selection bubbles."
But what is the product? Do you know what the product is?
Grotesquerie selection bubbles.
Okay.
I just said that.
I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't listening well enough. I apologize. My favorite Gary Oldman role is definitely gotta be Drexel from True Romance. That shit is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's good.
What is his line? Oh, it must be White Boy Day. It's fucking fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh god, he's amazing in that role.
Yeah.
What's his little monologue about? There's been big old titties on this screen behind me ever since you came in, and you ain't looked at them once.
Oh yeah.
That's so good.
At the end.
Drexel. It's near the beginning of the movie.
Oh, oops.
He's Alabama's pimp.
Right. Oh my god, right.
Oh my god.
Oh my lord.
Okay. What's your favorite Gary Oldman role?
I don't know. I feel like I have to let things pickle.
Here. I just want to know off the top. Okay, we got The Professional. We got Dracula, the villain in Fifth Element. He's what's the Sirius Black? Hannibal. He's under all the makeup. He's in the wheelchair in Hannibal.
Oh, right.
He plays a very gentle Commissioner Gordon in Nolan's
He's in Kung Fu
Batman
Panda
movies.
2?
Yeah, he's the bad guy in Kung Fu Panda 2. He's the scary peacock who represents British colonialism and genocide.
I did not know that was Gary Oldman.
Can we talk about KFP 2 real quick? Please.
Adam loves this movie.
I love Kung Fu Panda 2. I think Kung Fu Panda 2 is one of the best kids movies in so long. I'll be quick about this. First Kung Fu Panda, a delightful, discover who you are, have self-esteem kids movie. There's millions of those, right? Okay, of course. That's the message of a lot of kids movies. Kung Fu Panda done very well, and also taking full advantage of the fact that this is an animated movie, and if we're going to pay tribute to Kung Fu and to Chinese action movies, then let's use the fact that we're animated to do all the cool stunts that we can. I love that. Kung Fu Panda 2,
we love that.
Just like Kung Fu Panda 2 is about the exploration of identity and childhood trauma and genocide, and the entire movie, father figures, the entire movie is framed around this peacock who committed genocide, who has a British accent representing colonial rule of Hong Kong. God damn, Kung Fu Panda 2 is a thick freaking pie of a movie. And I gotta say, when it was coming out, there were some other Pixar movies, and I remember being upset because I was like, y'all, we get this Pixar movie is about like death and life and being a kid and whatever, and it makes you cry, and that's great. Let it out. I'm letting it out. But Kung Fu Panda 2, stop sleeping on it and thinking it's silly just because Jack Black's the main character. Anyway, that's my Kung Fu Panda 2.
I think we all know Jack Black has proven his emotional range, okay? And his acting abilities, okay?
His actimen.
Okay? His actimen.
He has. In The Jackal, you all remember The Jackal with Bruce Willis? When Jack Black designs him that gun and he makes him hold his pack of cigarettes out to the side, and then Bruce Willis blows his arm off.
It's good.
Jack Black goes crazy, crying, screaming.
Scrying, creaming.
All right. Skadoosh.
Jackal.
The Jackal. Okay.
That's kind of like what I was saying. The Jackal.
Yes. Oh, Air Force One, he's the bad guy in that.
Oh,
He plays Sid Vicious and Sid and Nancy.
Air Force One. It's pretty good.
Die Hard on a Plane with an extra 40 minutes, just for no reason.
For good measure.
Just for good measure. It's funny. two character actors, British character actors, who would go on to play characters in the Harry Potter films that were known for being dark on the surface but secretly good. Both played the same role, basically. Gary Oldman in Air Force One and Alan Rickman in Die Hard. Both British actors doing accents that are not theirs to fight against leading men who are trapped in a building. Anyway, I don't know. I'm drawing a loose comparison.
I don't think that's loose. I don't think it's too loosey-goosey.
You know? Declan. That's right, Declan. You have a good memory, homie. Pathos.
You good memory.
I said you have a good memory, homie. You good memory, Pathos.
Now, you know who doesn't have good memory? Me today.
Stephanie.
If anybody knows the movie I watched this week, I'm dying over
What was it
here.
about?
I don't remember. Y'all, and here's the thing. I was sober as a puppy dog.
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on. What is wrong with my brain?
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Oh.
I do not know what to tell you. Let's take a quick...
You know,
oh, sorry.
I remember thinking, well, that movie wasn't that great.
sounds like it maybe wasn't that memorable.
Yeah, but I just would prefer that it were, you know, a little memorable so I could just remember it.
Uh-huh. Of course.
You know, sound off in the chat if you have ever just straight up forgotten a movie you watched the week you watched it.
You know, actually, this happened to me this Halloween. I got really excited. I found a DVD of a movie called The Mansion of Madness, which is a Mexican horror movie from the 70s. And I'd been wanting to watch it for years. And the DVD has always been extremely expensive. It's out of print. It's always been $90. During Halloween, I found it on eBay for $30. And I said, you know what? I'm finally getting this thing. Because it's not streaming anywhere. I'm watching this bad boy. I bought it. I got it. I put it on. It started, and I said, I rented this from I Love Video a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I'd seen it because I didn't own it, but I rented it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Now I have it. I'll forget about it. Give it some time. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens to the best of us, and Stephanie, you are indeed the best of us.
Who, me?
You are. Should we do a quick station idea, move into new arrivals, or do you have thoughts?
I have one thought, and the only thought I have is what the fucking fuck movie did I watch?
And what happens?
Well, what movie was it,
It's going to be
Stephanie?
so satisfying when I remember at the very end of the stream.
I think that's going to make for a good show. Okay, shall we do new arrivals? Let's do new arrivals. Okay, y'all.
I'm going to go check my Netflix queue.
Okay. And don't forget to check Hulu.
Okay. I already know what you got.
Shade. Okay, what we got. Okay, y'all. So I talked about this at the top of the month. I cannot believe it's the 17th. I seriously can't. Still going on. If you, like me, enjoy collecting physical media of movies, and I don't know why you wouldn't, Criterion and Arrow, two really great boutique distributors, are currently having 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble this month. So it's all month. Don't worry. They restock. No reason to, don't worry. Don't let it stress you out. Just know that if there's any, this is my philosophy. Don't let it stress you out. Just know that if there's any titles that you've been wanting to pick up, you can go get them for cheap right now. And it lasts until the 31st of November. So give yourself some time. They do restock. Don't worry, but barnesandnoble.com. The one pro tip I'm going to give you here is that Barnes & Noble, for some reason on their website, lists a lot of Arrow films by their original foreign language titles. So for instance, I was looking for this Giallo, this Italian horror movie called Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. I searched for it, couldn't find it. Then I went to Google. I wrote, Your Vice is a Locked Room, Barnes & Noble. Turns out it was just listed under an Italian title. I don't know why, but it was there. So anyway, I'm going to tell you what I picked up at the top of the month for the Criterion sale. First of all, some single discs here. Finally did an upgrade on a few Meiko Kaji movies. Now, Meiko Kaji is one of my favorite actors of all time. This movie over here is called Blind Woman's Curse. This over here is a double feature of Lady Snowblood and Lady Snowblood 2, aka Lady Snowblood Love Song of Vengeance. Meiko Kaji was a very famous, is a very famous Japanese actress who was known for her stoic, often silent, but powerful performances in exploitation movies of the 60s and 70s, specifically 70s, in Japan. So she is in the lead in both of these. Blind Woman's Curse, she's the lead. Lady Snowblood, she's the lead. Lady Snowblood, a huge inspiration on Kill Bill. I'm not ashamed to say that's how I originally found out about it. And just a violent, fun revenge movie. Another great flick with her in it, Wandering Ginzu Butterfly, Stray Cat Rock series, which Arrow also put out. And my personal favorite, also out in a beautiful set from Arrow, Female Prisoner Scorpion 701. That is a long mouthful of a title, but Female Prisoner Scorpion, really an awesome, awesome movie that is kind of disguised as a women in prison flick, but just has so much going on in it. Anyway, I went ahead and picked these up because this completes me owning Meiko Kaji's catalog on Blu-ray. Again, one of my favorite actors, super stoked about it. There's also a little crossover with this Arrow disc because I also picked up this flick called Horrors of Malformed Men. So both of these movies, Horrors of Malformed Men and Blind Woman's Curse, are directed by Teruo Ishii, who also directed a movie I really love called Orgies of Edo. And Teruo Ishii was a very prolific director. Made a lot of stuff, as a lot of directors during the Nikatsu Toei, etc. Toho studio boom of the 70s was. Like in Japan, a lot of Japanese directors are workhorses, man. Just look at how many movies Takeshi Miike directs a year. He directs like 3 or 4 movies a year. So, Horrors of Malformed Men is a infamous great tale of Japanese horror. I'm gonna read this to make sure I got it right. It's known as Eroguro, which stands for erotic grotesque, the erotic grotesqueries. And basically that is kind of this realm that's in between like sexploitation. We're going to have some nudity, kind of bordering on other things Meiko Kaji did that are also part of the exploitation scene in the 70s in Japan, what would be known as pinky violence. The pink just being naked girls and violence meaning violence. So certain examples of pinky violence would be like the Stray Cat Rock series, girl gangs fighting it out, women in prison movies, trashy exploitation stuff, but that's fun. Anyway, one of the pioneers of a kind of sister subgenre to that, Eroguro, erotic grotesque, is more about like disgusting monsters, body horror, but also finding a way to make it sexual. Because hey, you gotta sell tickets at the end of the day, right? So really, really excited. I've never seen Horrors of Malformed Men. This gets me pretty close to getting almost all of the movies this guy's put out on Arrow release. So stoked about that. Let's move on. Also for the Criterions, let's do the Arrow real quick. Once Upon a Time in High School from 2004, Korean movie about hardcore and militaristic their school system was. I would love to watch that. I will check that out. Y'all, I'm actually, I'm about this close to buying myself a region-free Blu-ray player because they're not too expensive, and the more that you read about like random ass movies on the internet and you're like, ooh, I want to watch that, you find it, it only ever got put out in Europe. There's so many movies. Anyway, I need to get a region-free player. We'll get back to that. This one's called Dead End Drive-In. I love Dead End Drive-In. I've talked about it before on the show. Dead End Drive-In is an 80s exploitation, kind of post-apocalyptic horror movie about a drive-in theater that's closed in which young punk teenagers are tempted to come, and then it's actually a prison that they're kept in. It's a would be called Ozploitation, because it's a famous Australian action movie, exploitation movie made in a low budget by Brian Trenchard Smith, a huge name in the Ozploitation, and a big reason these are popular over here, just like with Lady Snowblood, is Tarantino. Speaking of South Korean movies, I mean, there's a good reason that Bong Joon-ho thanked Tarantino for being one of the first people to distribute his movies in the States, and that is because whatever your opinion of Tarantino is, that dude makes sure that people hear about the things he likes, and that helps out a lot of independent filmmakers in international circles. Okay, continuing with the new arrivals, had to pick this one up. Genuinely, this is a dramatic statement. I consider this to be, I hesitate to even say this in public, but I think this is the best movie ever made. I legit do. It's number one on my list. It's The Passion of Joan of Arc, 1928. I wanted to say 29. I mean, what can be said about this that hasn't been said already? I have the old DVD, wanted to upgrade it. A quick warning, there's a new score on here by, hi Cat, hi Spooky. Oh shit, I'm gonna grab you. We're gonna talk about Passion of Joan of Arc, bud. Quick word of the wise, there's a new score on the disc from Portishead and Goldfrapp. I beg you not to watch the movie with this score. The original score, called Voices of Light, is beautiful. The director's original preferred way to watch this movie is completely silent with no score. And the Goldfrapp Portishead one is, to be honest, we saw it at Austin Film Society Theater in town. It was Stephanie's first time seeing it. She was really like, that score, she hated it. I hated it. I actually went to the bathroom to get tissue to put in my ear because it was so distracting. So please watch this movie. Do not watch it with that score.
I got it.
You got it? Well, hold on. I was just talking about how when we saw this in theaters, how the score sucked.
Oh, I was watching it like this.
Yeah, thank you for backing that up.
Aggressive.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna leave everyone hanging.
No, go.
Also picked up one On the Waterfront. I've never seen On the Waterfront before. It feels like a major blind spot for me. I love Streetcar, which is same actor, Elia Kazan and Marlon Brando. So really, really excited to watch this. Honestly, I know very little about it other than I could have been a contender. Literally, that's the only thing I know about it is that Marlon Brando has that famous line, I could have been a contender. And then almost finally picked up the upgrade of Seven Samurai. This is a gorgeous package. The other Seven Samurai I have is up on the shelf. It's the 1998 DVD from Criterion, so it was about time to upgrade this. I haven't seen this in probably 20 years, so I am pretty stoked. I think the last time I watched this was junior high. Pretty stoked. I keep wanting to put it on a little too late. It is 3.5 hours long, but it's also like one of the best movies ever made, so what are you gonna do? And it's got little goobies on it. What's your little gooby on there? Get off there.
Boogies.
Goobies.
Somebody's picking boogies.
And then finally, this was the big haul this time. This is why I went to the sale. The other ones were kind of impulse. This is Criterion's Agnes Varda box set. Okay, so I've only seen a few Agnes Varda movies. I love them. Cleo from 5 to 7 is wonderful. And I love Faces Places. This is a complete archive of her movies, including shorts, including the movies she made in California. Let's just look at this box for a second.
It's gorgeous.
We got this gorgeous shot of Agnes when she's young, and then a gorgeous shot of Agnes in her later years on the other side. We have a very nice spine. There's slight damage right here because the cat that you just saw knocked this off the counter within 5 minutes of having it in the house. But what are you going to do? It's cat.
How did they see the cat?
Oh, he walked in here. He's hanging out with me for a sec.
Oh, cool.
I love how on the inside of this, there's actually printing of little cartoons of Agnes with little quotes in French. It's that sort of love and attention to detail that really makes these packages soar. And then on the inside, we've got these two little books that are mirroring the outside packaging with the purple and the yellow. And then, of course, the young and the old photos of Agnes. This one being a book, Criterion really going above and beyond their normal inserts to include a full truly a full book on Agnes Varda, along with a lot of reference photos behind the scenes. And of course, she was a photographer and just a film lover in general.
That book smells good.
It does smell good. And then it's also got the films in here put in a really nice way. Now, these are organized as the Ingmar Bergman set is organized, and what I mean by that is they are not presented in this box set in chronological order. Instead, they are presented in a recommended order for a film festival layout. And so these are all themed. Personally, I think I prefer watching chronological, but I do appreciate the thought that went into this. So there's a bunch of different, like little, in California, etc., early days, married life. The one that I know is going to make me feel very emotional, because it already is Jacques Demy, the movie she made with her husband, Jacques Demy, who died young, and it makes me emotional because if you've ever watched her talk about Jacques, it's very clear she was very in love with him. And so that's this box set. Really excited about it.
It's gorgeous. I truly think aesthetically, like, it is a stunning... I mean, it's at least for my
very well made
particular taste. Yeah.
Oh, I squished the little insert. I like to hold on to the little inserts that come on the back with the sticky stuff, even if it's silly. So I'm going to slide that in here. But yeah, that's the new arrivals section, y'all. Basically, if you are a fan of Arrow or Criterion, or if there's just movies they put out that you've been wanting to pick up, now's the time. You also will have next July. It's every July and November. And once again, I urge you, this is not a flash sale. You don't have 24 hours. They're going to restock it the whole time. You've got until November 31st. So don't have any buyer's pressure. You're fine. Just keep an eye on the website if you're interested in picking some shit up for cheap. Because like this, $250 normally. This is it's $100 right now. So that's why I got it. And I saved up, and I knew coming into November, that's my birthday present for myself. And now, new arrivals is over with, my dear fellow employee. Is it unprofessional of me to talk to you like you're my girlfriend when we're here working a shift together with customers in the store?
Probably.
What was the movie you forgot?
Okay. Wow. I have to say, I cannot believe how difficult that was, and my apologies for how distracting it was.
Oh, I feel like we were all pretty distracted. Yeah.
It's like tip of the tongue.
Tip of the tongue, tip of the teeth.
Oh boy. So that happened. Okay, so we've been watching a lot of horror movies. Obviously, the world is on fire, and it was stressful. It was a stressful time. Yes. Ding-a-ling. And I wanted to hunker down in the bedroom with candles and hot tea and watch something that was like an indie or a rom-com, but nothing too
twee.
Yeah. So I thought this movie that's new streaming on Netflix, it's a remake of a French film.
Oh, you watched that?
Yes, that's like an ensemble cast. It's called Love, Wedding, Repeat.
Oh, never mind.
And I thought, it was based on a charming seeming French film from, I think, 10 years ago. And, it had a British ensemble. I thought it was going to be, like a Love Actually kind of, in time or time.
From the director of Jammin'.
Jammin'?
I don't know.
This movie was so clearly forgettable.
It's funny because the AP, when the trailer was released, I just Googled it and the AP described it as escapist. Just never a great sign for the AP to announce your movie. It's like being something if you want to turn your brain off.
That's funny. I felt like it's very funny because I felt like this movie had potential to be fun and charming and funny, and I don't think it was the fault of the actors or anything. First of all, the end was very annoying. It was like a very see what we did there? Wink to the camera, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, and secondly, the whole movie kind of revolves, like the premise of the film revolves around the idea that a woman on her wedding day would allow her super drunk, super problematic ex-boyfriend, whom she had just hooked up with pre-wedding, to chill at the wedding. Just because that would be less trouble than kicking him out. Which is the whole, like, it just, everything revolves around that fact.
This sounds like I mean, you were describing the plot of a French movie.
Right?
Like, yeah. The only other movie I've ever seen in which someone hooks up with someone the day of their wedding is Melancholia, because it's about someone destroying themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also one of those films that's supposed to, like, have different potential narratives, you know, based on, like,
a Ron situation.
Yeah,
or Rashomon. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's based on who gets. So her this bride's brilliant idea is to have her brother give her ex a sleeping pill in his glass of champagne, so he sleeps through the wedding. And then the film is, like, exploring all these different options of, like, who. Like, oops, this was not the only way this could have gone, because the pill went in the wrong champagne glass because the kids came in and rearranged the seating chart cards.
Was it like a sliding doors sort of thing?
Sort of, but it was completely supplementary to the plot. It was sort of like, but pause, hold on. What if we do an entire montage that's way too long about all the other different ways that the pill could have been put in the wrong glass, but don't really explore them. It's just a long montage.
It's just like ideas.
Yeah.
It's just like, and it could have gone like this. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen. One of our rules is don't judge anything you haven't seen, so I won't judge it. But sounds like it wasn't to recommend for you.
Well, here's the thing.
We try not to use star ratings and stuff. We just recommend or we don't. So who would you recommend this movie to, if anyone?
Look, I do think if you are looking for a movie that you don't have to feel, like, super invested in, honestly, I think it did the trick. I think I was escapist. I think I was looking for something that would just be, like, very easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. Like, you know, I get my blankets, I have my aromatherapy, and it's just sort of like my brain can go, okay, I'm consuming something, but this is all I need. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm done. Give me visuals.
Yes.
Human shapes talking.
Yes. Human shapes talking. Recommend. If
you're into human shapes and words.
And maybe you don't want to lift a brain finger.
I love lifted brain finger.
Clearly, I completely forgot it. I do think that there was a spark of potential there. It felt very French. It felt like it should have stayed very French. And it felt like a very poorly done adaptation of somebody thinking, like, oh, this is a small cast in one location, and I bet we could knock this out and throw it up and get a lot of streams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Sounds like they knew what they were doing.
And I fell for it.
Hook, line, and stinker. Stinky Poo-Poo. Stinky Poo-Poo.
But fine, though. It's a fine movie. It's fine.
A rave review.
It's fine.
Okay.
Forgettable and fine.
We're going to talk about what we thought of the movies we watched for Holiday Horror Week. I think we're ready to get into the movie theme.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I cannot believe... Oh, here it is. There it is. There's our little movie club cutaway.
I felt a sneeze coming on. I was really hoping I would sneeze during the...
Your luck just ran out. Your luck just ran out. That's the tagline for Leprechaun. We're going to get to that in 1 second. Stephanie, why don't you let me take a real quick break?
Why didn't you do that while I was rambling on about Love, Wedding, Repeat?
Because I wanted to know what it was, because I didn't want to leave during the punchline.
Okay.
Because you leave us hanging all episode on what did you watch, and then I spent forever talking about the new arrivals, so I'm not trying to blow up your spot and leave right after I get to talk.
Wow.
I'm going to go put Agnes back on her shelf, though.
Yeah, you do that.
Thank you.
What did I miss? Slash, has anyone...
Just open these.
What?
You didn't miss anything other than we talked about.
New arrivals.
Shit.
Yeah. What did I miss from y'all? If I missed anything. / has anybody by any weird chance seen Love Wedding Repeat? I really, what a bizarre feeling to have a movie just blacked out from your ledger. Like, what? It's so strange. Or sub-question, has anyone in the chat had that happen to you, where you've watched a movie that was so beige or what's even the right word? Somebody help me out. Like, just so like, okay, oh, that was a movie. That you've just completely forgotten it's, oh, and here's the cat. I'm sure Adam, I know that he was showing all the Agnes Varda set, which happened, the cat was angry, and this happened like 2 minutes after that set was home. It was up on the kitchen counter, and Spooky just immediately was like, and goodbye. Just clomp on the ground. Anyways, I'm trying to think. Wow. Trying to think what else. If I've ever had another movie that just like completely, I mean, clearly this has been a theme for me tonight, like forgetting that I watched a movie, or for us, a topic of discussion. But truly, it's never been this close to the actual viewing. It's a little alarming. It's a little like brain zappy. Let's see what Holden Wook's saying. We watched Halloween 2018 before election. Okay, that Holden Wook, that's exactly when I watched it. It was like my brain couldn't handle anything remotely serious. I was so, you know, is that a vaguely remember granddaughter in the story? Yeah, Pathos and Holden Wook. Yeah, okay, so two things highly relatable. First of all, Holden Wook, 100%, that is when I watched it / why I watched it. And I was also deliberately taking a break from all substances during an incredibly, like, emotionally taxing time to help level out my baseline so I could handle shit like this better. So it's not like I was like, just gonna, watch a rom-com, and I don't know why I did this. This is like what a mom in a 90s movie would do to like just describe the marijuana cigarette. But yes, Pathos, that is my MO. That is absolutely what I do. I'm like, no, I haven't seen this, and I'm so like headstrong about it. Like, no, I've never seen that. And then there's always the moment of, oh, right, I did. 100% I've seen this. Although this is coming from someone who forgot the title of a movie that I was in. Okay? All right? So that was embarrassing. It actually happened on a stream when somebody asked me to promote it. So that happened. And I was like, what was that movie? The one that I was in? I don't remember. Oh, boy. To tell you what, I'm just ready to we'll talk about it. Again, I feel like I keep teasing Midsummer, discussion, which, was not a recommend, and it was not movie club, which maybe we could make it movie club since we've both seen it, but what was I even saying? See, this is insane. It's like cotton balls up here. I don't even know. And y'all, I'm drinking my prebiotic. This is not a sponsored thing, but this is called MyoWell, and I 100% recommend this stuff, especially if you're not drinking or you only want to, do 90s mom marijuana cigarette. But it's a prebiotic. It's bubbly and it's like a tonic water. I'm talking about my tonic water.
Oh man, we should
No, but
we should get a
saying,
sponsorship for the show.
I definitely was like, this is not a sponsored moment. The strawberry hibiscus ginger is so delightful, and it just okay. Look, I'm being serious. It is delightful.
I'm smiling because the cat came in, and because you're talking, and also our viewers always go up whenever I leave and you're alone here. So
strawberry hibiscus ginger is so delightful. It's got a little baby kick that hits you in the back of the mouth. And it's just like if you want something to sort of unwind at the end of the day, but you're not looking to
drink.
Glug, 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 glug. You know what I mean? I did this for smoking weed.
You just, as I drank my beer, went glug, 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 and I was like,
no.
okay, thank you.
No.
If you don't want to... You gotta bring out the fucking Price is Right read on me.
No, I will, no shade whatsoever. Like, look, if I hadn't been deliberately avoiding substances, election night, I would have been like 3 sheets to the fucking wind.
Pathos' cat is trying to take over the desk. Look, while we're on the subject of cats,
oh, I'm sorry, I was talking about my prebiotic bubbly drink.
Did the cat have dinner?
No.
That's, okay, I'm gonna go do that because that explains a lot, Stephanie.
Wow.
Keep plugging that. If you can get us a sponsorship from Well, I will be so happy.
Okay, so anyways, Well is a bubbly prebiotic
but don't
tonic.
give them too much for free.
All right, so you can order these online. All right, look, I'm just telling you, they help your tummy feel nice. It's a whole thing, and I don't know. I don't know how you feel about prebiotics, probiotics, anything like that. It probably doesn't actually do anything for your health. Let's get real. But it tastes like a delightful cocktail. And it's good for your gut. You know what I mean? Immune boosting. Ginger. What are we even doing here?
What are we doing?
I'm talking about prebiotics.
And there goes the sponsorship.
Oh, what I meant to say is it does. It's gut health.
I missed all of it.
I just said it probably doesn't actually do anything for your health.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Well. We should get a Lone Star sponsorship.
What I meant to say is the reason I said that is because what I was trying to get to, if you would let me finish, is that
Wow.
it definitely does something for your health.
I didn't realize that my toxic mansplaining was preventing you from properly hawking this product.
No. It wasn't.
So, movie club?
Yeah, movie club.
Okay, y'all. It's going to be the last week we do a theme for a while, unless someone pitches a theme that's just butt-nanners awesome. For instance, we just got that Agnes Varda set. I really want to start watching through that set. I also really want to start watching through the Gamera movies that are here. There's a lot that's been sitting on the shelf waiting for us to get through Halloween because I just didn't... and we're also, as the hosts of this, we want to come prepared. We don't expect y'all to watch everything. Mm-hmm. But we want to come with a bunch to talk about. So these theme weeks have really driven what we've watched. And for that reason, I don't think we watched anything that wasn't a holiday horror movie this week.
No, except for Love, Wedding, Repeat, Forget.
Love, Wedding, Repeat, Forget. So where do we start? Where do we start here? Because let's just go through. And typically how we do this is we're going to talk about the stuff we watched. If you've seen it, if you have thoughts, please, that's a good... You should be a copywriter, Pathos.
Yeah, that's really good. Drink it, find out.
Drink it and find out. And I say that as someone who...
Hey, this would be my commercial.
Okay, let's do it. Hold on.
It might do something. Drink and find out. Drink and find out. It's a maybe.
It's a maybe. Can't spell maybe without Mayowell. Okay, y'all. Hey, you remember when I beat that earlier this year? That was nice. Forgot that I did that.
He points to 75 video games.
I'm pointing to Lunar 2, Eternal Blue Complete.
The one way up there.
An RPG that took me like 90 hours that I beat.
Okay.
Okay, so typically how we do this with the themes is we'll go through, and this is kind of what we'll you'll in future weeks. This is gonna be what we watched looks like a little bit more, but since we're on theme, we're just gonna go through. We're gonna not over talk each one. If you've seen it, you have thoughts, please share. We're just gonna go through and do like a little capsule review of each of these. Each say if we recommend it or not, what we think. It may well done fix all your tummy gut issues. Here, can I try?
Yeah, here.
It may well done fix all your tummy gut issues.
Oh no.
My well. Is it good?
It's a maybe.
Okay. So, well, that tastes like, I mean, it tastes delicious. It tastes like the strawberry fizzy stuff in Dr. Dreadful kits. Okay, so.
Is that a bad thing?
Yeah, we watched these together. I watched this alone. These together. Did you finish this one?
No, I didn't.
This is a maybe, and this I watched. So.
Well, this is movie club.
Movie club. We'll get there last. Yeah, you're right. Okay, cool. So.
And this I fell asleep.
Where do you want to? Yeah, I mean, you saw it. Yeah, where do you want to start here?
Why don't you talk about the movies you watched on your own, and then we can dive into, since I just talked about prebiotic tonics for 3 hours.
Hey, you know what? What's a video store without a good cold drink case?
It's a maybe.
Okay, cool. So, holiday horror was the theme. We had a whole big old list of movies set on holidays. I did not get to watch all the ones I wanted to. First of all, I think we're going to probably pick this back up in December because there's a bunch of Christmas horror movies and I want to watch more of them. I also didn't see a few big ones that I really wanted to, like My Bloody Valentine and April Fool's Day were two that we talked about a lot, never really got to. Here are two I watched on my own. First one of these is called Bloody New Year. This is one of my favorite box arts of all time. I love this skeleton with all of his party gear on, or her party gear on. Bloody New Year. This is a UK horror movie from 1987. I will say, yeah, you can. I will say it does not, if there is I like to have the scale in the show, which is this movie as cool as its cover art? And the answer to this one is no, it's not. Bloody New Year, not a good movie. But a fun movie. And I kind of liken this one to, it's like going to a really cheap...
Sorry.
It's like going to a really cheap local carnival, you know, like a high school puts on a carnival. And there's a haunted house that the high school kids put together. It felt like going through that. Like, it was fun. I'm certainly not angry I did it. I had a good time. It was very clearly very cheap and very clearly pretty limited on ideas. But what I will say is that, like, the plot of this movie is that these kids who we barely get to know land on an island. Most of the movie takes place during the day. They are in a hotel on an island. The premise is actually horrifying. The premise is that there was a New Year's Eve party there in 1959, and the government developed a missile that could change time or undo time itself. The plane carrying that missile crashed into the hotel where the party was, forever trapping all of those party guests between eternal life and eternal death, where time was meaningless. That's a scary concept. Very existentially scary. The plot of the movie, really, though, is that a bunch of kids stumble into that, and hey, random actors are now ghosts because there's no one killer, there's no real monster effects. And so one of my favorite effects in this movie was the little a carved wooden duck on the end of a handrail at stairs turning and biting someone.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's fun stuff like that. There's one where a girl opens up a door and a blizzard comes inside, and there's a whole blizzard in a sitting room with a fireplace. A lot of really fun ideas like that are just like little scares. And you know, they do one thing that's kind of sad is that they do that famous effect from Nightmare on Elm Street where, you know, like something's really taut as a wall and then you see a face come through it. Mm-hmm. They do that, but they clearly didn't have the budget, so the material they're using, like the paint on it. It's like when you have a spray painted balloon and you push, you can see the paint separate as the rubber stretches. They had that problem. So it was like, oh, the wall's coming to life. Just pay no attention to how that metallic paint is getting fucked up.
I thought you were going to say like you could kind of see through it and you could just tell it was like a PA being like...
No, you couldn't see through it. It worked. And I'm not unhappy I watched it. I think it was fun. I'm happy I own it. It was a fun little British low thing. And you know what? As to our scale of how much do we recommend it, I recommend it to you if you like corny low budget horror, and if you just want to have a good time throwing a tape on. You'll be bored for a third of it, but you'll be tickled for 2/3 of it. The other one I watched on my own is Uncle Sam. This one was actually my staff pick last week, and I'm going to tell you why. This movie was directed by William Lustig and written by Larry Cohen. If you watch the show, you know I'm a huge Larry Cohen fan. Larry Cohen is actually one of the few areas in which I think the subject of Larry Cohen as a director is one of the few areas in which I would actually, without ego, call myself an expert. And I really love this guy. So Larry Cohen has made a lot of fantastic movies. Black Caesar, The Stuff. What are some other big ones? He wrote Phone Booth. It's Alive, the Killer Baby movie. But what this guy does is he takes silly genres that on their face sound silly, like a total B-movie, a low-budget thing, like a Killer Baby, for instance. But then he, through his scripts, makes them so relatable and makes the characters so grounded that it really does become about something else. It's Alive being about environmentalism, for instance. And Uncle Sam, written by him, it's a tight little, silly little movie about a kid who idolizes his uncle who died in war and came back home. The uncle, of course, actually being a sadistic, violent, murdering soldier who is a shame of the army and a shame of the family. The kid doesn't know that. Skunkle. And it's pretty amazing because the movie is really about this little white kid who is fully on his way to being a radicalized patriot. He talks about how he wants to be in the army because he'll do whatever the president says because the president knows best. He's a little bootlicker, to be honest. And and the movie is really about how his mom and his aunt have to say oh, actually your uncle was sexually abusive and terrible. But the movie is about being a young American and being told everything about your country and then discovering the truth. It was made in the 90s. It's very post Gulf War movie. It's very much about you can see even in the rotting effects they've given to the Uncle Sam character, there is definitely this meta commentary about the makeup being Gulf War syndrome and the rot that the U.S. government has imposed on its own soldiers. This movie's really about losing your faith in your country and what we all go through as a teenager when we start to learn more about our history.
Death of the American dream.
Exactly. Or the death of the idea of the American dream.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really, really dug this one. I think it's a lot smarter than it seems. But guess what? All that shit I just said, all of that stuff about confronting patriotism and what it means, well, hey, let's take all that, let's box it up, and let's make it an 85-minute movie about a killer zombie soldier in an Uncle Sam costume. That's why I loved it, because it's that turn your brain off and enjoy it, but at the same time, it's not a stupid script. It's about something, and I really dug it. Cool.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and same writer-director combo, Cohen and Lustig, who made Maniac Cop and Maniac Cop 2, which, surprise, surprise, is about killer police. Okay, cool. Yeah, they take it on. I really love Cohen. I think he's such an important American director, and he's so slept on. Someday he'll get his due. Actually, there's a documentary called King Cohen that came out a few years ago where I think he got most of his due. Okay, Stephanie, do you want to jump into fun little my career moment thing? There is that my old film producing partner Louis had an in on the documentary about Larry Cohen, and about 3 years before it came out, I had an opportunity to potentially direct it, and I did not do that. Whoops. Okay, let's keep moving. So we watched these movies. We watched these movies together. Where do you want to jump in?
Okay. I think I'm going to start backwards or here.
So these are all the movies you watched with me are all Christmas horror. Mm-hmm. So I made it a point to try and I will say that nothing about the 4th of July or New Year's Eve really mattered to the plots of the other ones.
Yeah.
But these are all Christmas horror, the ones that we watched together.
Yeah. I thought we'd start with Black Christmas. Just get this one. Let's.
I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, it's interesting. So if you remember back to a previous episode where we were talking about what was the theme? Slashers?
Yeah, yes. So I think I know what you're gonna say. Just to tee you up here, it was a slasher episode. Mm-hmm. Stephanie broke down the relationship between second wave feminism and specifically the early Friday the 13th films. And you mentioned that this one was about abortion and came before all that.
Yeah, and I was so it's interesting because I hadn't actually seen this. I just kind of knew like loosely what it was about, and that it is about that sort of second wave feminism, and it's sorority house of young women who are trying to own their sexuality and own their bodily autonomy, and it's all about like a very, very creepy. I mean, I'll just say that the phone, like, I don't know who's seen this in the chat, but the phone calls in this movie are legitimately disturbing. I find them legitimately disturbing.
And I was actually really, I mean, the 70s are not exactly a tame period for the horror movie, but I think just given that this is directed by Bob Clark, who also did Christmas Story, I think I didn't realize it was going to go so hard. Mm-hmm. There's like graphic panting use of the C word early on in one of these obscene phone calls the girls at the house get. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I didn't realize the script was going to be like this.
I didn't either.
It's a hard R.
I didn't either, but I do think it sort of captures that feeling that, one of the aspects of the sort of second wave feminism slasher correlation there of this sort of idea of men being upset of this, women trying to take ownership of their lives, their bodies, whatever, and lashing out with, in the case of slashers in this movie, obviously literal violence, but also, violence of language and and sort of the idea of almost like a how dare you,
emotional violence, manipulation, specifically her boyfriend,
and intimidation.
So you've got
of no, you don't get to make this decision, you don't get to be this way. And also this movie, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're
I just
fine.
wanted to finish this one thought because I feel like this movie really circled back to something that I've talked about a lot on the stream, and is my perpetual dingling of the virgin horror complex.
Ding-a-ling. I've heard the term virgin horror complex more in the 4 years I've dated you than before ever in my life.
Ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling,
ding-a-ling indeed.
ding-a-ling.
Well, especially because her boyfriend in this. So there's a couple different characters. Obviously, but I mean in terms of like female archetypes, to speak to what you're saying about women trying to take their power in their own way. So there's the virgin, like you said, the girl that gets made fun of for how virginal she is, and then there's the whore. Not to throw that word around at Margot Kidder, but that is how she's painted. She's painted as the I'm Margot Kidder. Many of you may know as Lois Lane. Spends most of the movie drunk, and her character obviously, and typically is trying to get under the skin of controlling patriarchal authority figures such as police, such as fathers, by referencing sex really explicitly, because she's trying to, it's like a teenager trying to say something edgy to get people shocked.
Yeah.
And then so that's your virgin whore, and then trapped in the middle of those two, like really I think the virgin whore reading applies to this so well, because on the one hand you've got the drunk girl trying to shock everyone, on the other hand you've got the literal virgin who's made fun of for this girl, these two binaries, and in the middle is the girl who's Olivia Hussey, She played Juliet in Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet.
She was great in this movie, by the way.
She's a fantastic actress. She's also like kind of an all-time beauty.
Yeah.
She's got this like she's Juliet. She's a kind of archetypically beautiful.
Yeah.
And she plays right in the middle. She's sexually active. She's pregnant. She's not promiscuous. She doesn't flaunt her sexuality. Mm-hmm. She also doesn't pretend that she's not having sex. She speaks about it very frankly. She's a pretty actualized person. And her boyfriend in it is the how dare you, because she tells her boyfriend, I'm going to have an abortion, and he has a mental breakdown. And for most of the movie, it's like the movie wants us to think the killer, the bad guy, is this guy. There's an ambiguity to that, and I don't want to spoil it, but I felt almost that the ambiguity here was, yeah, here's your red herring of it's probably the boyfriend, but even if it's not, this is just living as a woman. Mm-hmm. Like the ambiguity of the ending bothered me when it was over. I think both of us were like, okay. Mm-hmm. The more I think back on it, the more I'm like, oh, that's because the threat never leaves.
It's like an ever-present. Yeah. It's just speaking to that idea of like, there's always going to be some reason for criticism or some reason for fear of violence or some reason, and yeah, it's more of this idea of like, it doesn't matter. It's what's the word I'm looking for?
Omnipresent?
No. Like I said, cotton balls.
You're good.
I got cotton ball brain.
It's a sleepy day. Okay, so give your capsule. Do you want to keep talking about this? Like the...
Well, I know we said we didn't want to like dive in.
It's okay. I said that and I don't care.
I think for me, this is like you gotta watch it.
A must watch.
Unless this is not...
Trigger warning, maybe?
Yeah, I think that there's a slight trigger warning here. Particularly with the sort of the language is very intense. Like, I don't know, maybe, and I'm not trying to be overly sensitive or in any way, like, thinking it should be censored or whatever.
I don't think anyone's going to pin you as a censor.
No, I know. I just meant like, I think what I'm trying to say is I don't think that the language would bother a cis man the same way.
I didn't. But
that's what I'm trying to say.
But
and I know that most people that watch this are men.
It unnerved me though. I mean, it's not pleasant.
Yeah.
It's still hateful, scary speech. It just doesn't make me feel personally unsafe.
Yes, but as far as like the genre, as far as sort of like Christmas horror film, a slasher, like it's very moody. The acting is really great. Like it's very atmospheric. I actually really loved like not rack focus, but
they do that Citizen Kane thing where they like gel the edge and use two lenses and do composite shots.
Yeah. I actually like really appreciated kind of the moodiness of the film and how the Christmas really felt like essential to like the aesthetic.
This is interesting because I think if we go in order of the stack, we're going to be talking about how essential is the holiday to the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And in this one, I think you could make an argument not only, aesthetically, is it Christmas driven? Because of the fact that, well, first of all, it's a plot contrivance. It gets people alone in a house when all the students go home. Mm-hmm. Second of all, I do agree it allows it to be cold, moody, lit by small lights, candlelight. But also, Christmas is about family, right? Mm-hmm. So the destruction of the family, her deciding to end the family that she could have, is like this inversion. And of course, that's the problem with... I keep saying "of course" tonight. It's my thus of the night.
Yeah.
But I think I would agree this is a must-watch. It's also got, if you're a fan of difficult people, it's also got Julie's mom in a very young role. You can totally tell it's her.
Which she's kind of representing like that, well, at least for, maybe it's just, she reminded me of this type of woman in this era, but like that sort of like politically minded woman or woman who's like...
She's like the academic.
Yeah.
She's not really everyone else is.
It's not explicitly political. I should rephrase that. I meant more of like, she's, like you said, academic, level-headed, like very, headstrong, but not, just like.
I think she's the only person not in personal crisis.
Yeah.
She's there. She's a straight character, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
What else about this movie? One thing we both also talked about is it's interesting because this movie often gets cited as a. I even wondered, should we have done this for Slasher Week? But I think we're fine that we didn't. Gets cited as an early slasher, but of course, like we talked about, like when we went into slasher genre theory, we talked about how Halloween became the perfect prototypical. Halloween is the slasher. Mm-hmm. There's always one movie in every genre where that movie and the genre are the same thing. And for the slashers, that's Halloween. Mm-hmm. After Halloween, things start toying with it. Before it's formative and it's like primordial goo coming together, Halloween's that moment. This is primordial goo. It's 4 years before Halloween. It doesn't feel like a slasher, an American slasher. It did feel like, felt like a lot like Blood and Black Lace.
Yes, 100%.
Or an Italian movie.
Which is why I think I really liked it, because I like that sort of like almost genre bendy or genre blendy, moody sort of like, music and the lights and.
I think that's why giallo works, and why sometimes we bend the lines between giallo and slasher, and also why after Halloween things get more violent in Italy too. Official sources may dispute that claim. But I think that it's interesting because the giallo movie is ostensibly a crime drama or a personal drama with horrific elements.
Which is what this is.
Yeah, like the story is not after this, maybe after Halloween, the idea is like we're watching a horror movie. We're watching a movie where people get picked off. But before that, this is like we're watching a drama about... in Italian movies, we're watching, there have been some crimes, and we're going to follow people who are trying to figure them out, and we might see some of it, and it might be shocking and bloody and horrible, but it's not really like, at least what we're pretending we're here for. Maybe it's secretly what we're here for, but we're here for a plot.
Yeah.
Black Christmas felt the same. And really reminded me of Blood and Black Lace.
Me too, 100%. And it feels like the deaths feel more sadistic and like more personal in a weird way.
Because they're based out of... They're coming from a dramatic purpose. My film school lingo is going to fail me here, but there is some sort of difference here between a death or a kill. We should call it a kill, really. That's coming from a space that is designed to semantically be the genre, as in we expect this, we see it coming, and a kill that is done, basically a kill that is done for, and I'm using the word generic to mean genre, not commonplace. A kill that is done for generic reasons versus a kill that is done for dramatic reasons. And I feel like the kills in this and a lot of Italian movies are because it's a dramatic, it's the next stage of the plot. Whereas in a lot of slashers, it's because I'm here to see some kids hacked up.
Yeah, that is the plot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a function of the plot, it is the plot. And in this one, it's functional.
Right. And
dramatically functional.
And how, sort of violently invasive in a different way. Like slashers, obviously, there's something very personal about the violence of somebody stabbing you or cutting you or, like we talked about with the feminist theory there is something that's, way more disturbing about something that feels methodical, that's like almost like gentler.
There's an interesting point here because
like that's such a weird thing to say, like gentler violence.
Well, bloodless maybe.
Yeah.
Because the knife, the phallic knife, is done to death.
Yeah.
But we don't really get phallic knife in this.
No.
We get a lot of suffocation in this. And that's a lot of, I feel like, the more personal, maybe a phallic knife. And I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say content warning here because I'm going to say something that is going to talk about sexual assault, and I don't want anyone to hear this off guard. So content warning. I want to say that the knife is almost like the more dramatic, and again, I kind of feel bad for saying this, but I feel like there's a point. Don't be shocked in advance. You'll probably be like, oh, That's not too dramatic to say. That the knife and the stabbing and the phallic knife feel like a dramatic, fantastical, fictional idea of rape. The mugger in the dark alley, the scary stranger. Whereas the suffocation and the strangling feel like the real, grounded, date rape. Feels like someone you know overpowering you, and the struggle and the suffocation there.
Yeah.
So the stabbing feels more mythic.
Yeah.
The suffocation feels more like a man might not stab me, but he probably could choke me.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's why I was like,
I agree with that.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, you gave a very deliberate warning. It's fine.
I just think that maybe that's why that gentleness isn't necessarily gentleness. It's just that it's no longer like mythical, and that it's a bloody flesh flying sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's
real.
why I was saying like sadistic. It feels like a lot more like invasive. Like okay.
Yeah.
Not realistic even, because like a lot of the kills in this movie don't feel realistic. It's weirdly like grounded in a way that like somebody, you know, like a traditional slasher is not grounded, even if the kills aren't, you know, super realistic.
I feel that. So is this going on your Christmas Christmas movie rotation, Stephanie? Is this going to join Gremlins and Home Alone?
Yeah, I don't know if it's in the rotation. But like I said, I really enjoyed watching that movie.
I thought it was great too.
Yeah.
High recommendations from both of us on Black Christmas.
Yeah.
What's next?
Up next we have Jack Frost. Just to
hold it like that.
Oh. I'll just do this the whole rest of the show.
You gotta hold it. You gotta cheat a little bit ahead.
No, I like it right. Press right on the nose.
There you go.
Now it looks like.
I don't love this art.
God.
Can I be real? I don't like this art.
Hi, my name is Jack Frost.
Hi, my name is Jack Frost. You can call me JF for short.
My mom calls me Jackie.
I don't like this art.
I don't like it either. It doesn't even look. It's not a good representation of.
So what they're trying to do with this art is they're trying to approximate the lenticular cover of the VHS. So Jack Frost and Uncle Sam both came out in the late 90s, and both of them had the same lenticular cover art where it changed back and forth from someone looking normal to someone looking scary. Here, I'll just do that. Jack Frost. Anyway, I don't like this art. Vinegar Syndrome. It's an all right release. What do you think?
About the art?
No, about the movie.
J-Fro the Chill.
This movie has like J-Fro the Chill. Also, I saw your in Bison. Shout out Pathos. I see you. homie. This movie is not well regarded. It's kind of considered to be a trashy movie. Can I go first on this one?
Yeah.
I really liked this movie. It was so cheap, but it's like there's a little director's intro on the disc where the director's like, we had fun making it. We hope you have fun watching it. I get that. And I think that hearing that put me in the right frame of mind to be like, all right, you know, it's corny, it's cheesy, but it's like all the actors are having a good time. The effects are fun. It's about a killer snowman, and it's like 85 minutes long. You know, what are you going to do? I had a good time. I recommend this to fans of B-horror and to anyone who wants to see a killer snowman movie. I think Jack Frost is, probably the undisputed champ of killer snowman movies. Hearing myself say that out loud, my next thought is, I want my next project to be a killer snowman movie. But yeah, I mean, it's about a killer guy. I loved the guy they cast. He's so over the top, crazy, scary, kind of weird looking. He kind of looks like, no offense to this actor, but he kind of looks like the prosthetic big chinned guy from Lazy Town. And he's just like this sadistic killer. He gets hit with a chemical that combines with the snow that turns him into Jack Frost. His name is Jack Frost, by the way.
I know. That's so silly.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I loved it.
Well, what did you think? We watched this one together.
Yeah, we did. I feel similarly. Now, do you know what movie Pathos is talking about?
I don't.
A Killer Snowman movie.
I just want to make sure we didn't hit a snag here because I got an error message over here. Okay, we're back. Cool. ZPGB, Michael Keaton. Okay, so there is another movie called Jack Frost. That is...
Shut up.
The Michael Keaton Jack Frost. Did you not know this?
Show me.
So that movie's from 1998, and that movie is about a friendly snowman.
Oh, right.
It's about a dad who dies and comes back as a snowman. He's killed in a car accident, and he comes back as a snowman. Oh my god, 3 of Frank Zappa's 4 children are in that movie.
Did Frank Zappa produce that?
I have no idea.
Okay, here's my question. What year did you say that came out?
Okay, so the horror movie came out in 97, and then
This says 96.
96, okay, I was mixing it up with Uncle Sam. Yeah, and then the family one, 98. I mean, they just blatantly were like, no, they were like, fuck this movie, no one knows what it is.
Right, I'm just saying, like...
It's rude.
It's rude and it's kind of stupid.
I've seen the family one. The horror ones, I thought it was fun.
No, yeah, I just meant naming a movie, Jack Frost, 2 years later, that's a family movie.
I guess it's like some
pre-
Hollywood hubris.
Okay, so yeah, I appreciated the effects.
Like, you know, it's so clearly like these people who made this movie have never seen snow.
Yeah, I know, it's so funny. It's all like beautiful, like fluffy, sparkly, non-melting snow. Which, to be fair, I've never seen snow, so what do I know? What am I gonna say about it? But
he has a magic harmonica in the family one. Well, we probably should watch that one this Christmas.
All right. He has a magic harmonica?
Did this one need Christmas? I don't think it did.
No. I mean, no. I get why they centered it around Christmas, but it could have just been like a snow lodge.
Oh my god, that's actually a better idea.
Yeah.
To do kind of a chamber piece about a snow lodge.
Yeah.
Oh my god. You and I are going to look for the GoFundMe. It's coming soon. Stephanie and I are going to write, produce, and direct a sequel to Jack Frost. Not a remake, a sequel that's about... okay, here's the plot.
Okay.
It's a... You know those police training things that police do where they go to like a seminar, and it's all about how like I've been doing a lot of reading on this lately, but... there are police training seminars where police go to conventions and then they get trained on like view everything as a threat. Right. And like they're it's like dudes who are like the Tony Robbins of hyping cops up exist. Okay, so the plot of this movie is it's cops at a ski lodge in Colorado who are attending one of these seminars on how to be tougher, better cops. And the snowstorm hits and boxes them all in, and Jack Frost, the convicted killer who hates cops, and the cops that put him in jail are there, and to get his revenge he picks them off and none of them can escape. And spoiler alert, none of them make it because none of them are actually tough.
Wow.
And then the person who lives at the end is the girl who runs a snow lodge.
Okay.
I really threw together the ending, but
wow.
the main plot is there, okay?
Well, here's what I was thinking. I didn't know that your plot, that your soft pitch was going to be related to Jack Frost. I was just thinking about Killer Snowman movie. So, how about this one?
Okay.
Young woman has never seen snow. Family member, friends, somebody plans a trip to go to a snow lodge. They go to a snow lodge, okay? It's amazing. She's like, oh my god, the snow is so magical. She goes to a snow lodge.
She's from Jersey.
She goes to a snow lodge. Then she says, you know what? I've never made a snowman. Oh, I'm going to go make a snowman. She goes to make a snowman. And maybe she's the young girl. Maybe she's smaller.
She's small.
She's got the magic of Santa.
Of small size. Okay. The magic of shrinking.
So it's like Frosty the Snowman, but scary.
I believe that's like the pitch to this.
And it takes place. No, she puts the top hat on.
I get what you're saying.
No, hear me out. She's the one. She puts the top hat on. And it is a frosty moment. It's one night before the sun comes up, before the snowman melts away, like in the song. And it's a one-night killing spree. Now, cut to Jack Frost My Version 2. Number 2. The sequel. It's the young girl, all grown up, and she's been in years of therapy grappling with whether or not it's her fault that all these people died that fateful night. She's triggered by hats.
Wait, so do you need to have... You basically need to have one bad movie to get to the movie that you want to make.
Look, this could be a whole series.
But you kind of like threw away the first one. You're like, the first one is just there to set up the fact that she's got PTSD in the second one.
Sure, isn't that like a million other movies?
Okay, fine. I'm just calling it like I sees it.
All right, so she's triggered by hats. She becomes... I kind of lost it.
Work it, write it.
She becomes...
Write it. What does she become? A haberdasher.
A haberdasher.
To confront her fears.
Confront her fears as a sort of immersion therapy.
But she finds
she works at haberdashery in the mall during Christmas season, and somebody comes in and buys a top hat, and then she's like, oh my god, and they're talking about their kid making a snowman for the first time. She's like, oh my god, it's gonna happen again. And then
Jack Frost
2.
Oh my god.
The Squeakquel.
That was great. The snowman is from 2017 and it's Michael Fassbender. Okay, we're gonna look that up regardless of if the snowman is killer. Look, I love a good mutant snowman movie. Story, I should say, ever since I grew up reading Calvin and Hobbes. I wish this movie was better, but it was fun.
It was fun.
I love the attack with the hairdryer. I'm just looking. I love the icicle teeth.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Very pretty effect. Do you want to talk about this scene?
Oh, I hated that scene.
So there's a very disturbing, this movie's good, clean fun for the most part, except for one very disturbing sex violence scene with Shannon Elizabeth, I want to say.
I think so.
Shannon Elizabeth. We don't need to talk about that.
No, I would just say, ew, no.
All right, I'm going to go grab one more drink, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about the movies on this list that lean into being about Christmas the most. Mm-hmm. Come on. Sorry, got a tape that's acting up on me here. There we go.
Nobody wants to finance Jack Frost 1 and 2?
Finance my idea, because my idea about the Cops Lodge was admittedly a better idea than Stephanie's.
Just vote in the chat, okay?
I'll come back, and then we're going to talk about the movies that are about Christmas to their bone, baby. Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 and Silent Night, Deadly Night. We'll go ahead and call it 1.5.
The Squeakquel.
The Squeakquel. Sound off in the chat if you have a favorite holiday horror movie. And then after we talk about those, we are going to get to our movie club pick this week, which is really the very, very, very fun Leprechaun, which we'll get to in a second. But first, nice.
I also teased that I watched Midsummer.
I forgot that we have Midsummer to talk about. Okay, we should talk about that next.
But I also, hear me out, I also said that could be movie club next week.
We could. I have so many thoughts on Midsummer, but it is a holiday horror. It's a Midsummer.
I know.
What you watched it today. I say we talk about it tonight.
All right.
So I forgot because it's one of the few that's not we don't have a physical copy of it here.
We'll go.
Okay. I'll be right back. I think we should totally talk about that.
Before we talk about Silent Night, Deadly Night? Yeah, that's true. It's like so, I guess, I don't know if we should finish off with the Christmas theme, but I did explicitly watch Midsummer so we could talk about it, thinking it was in our holiday horror theme week, Midsummer being the holiday event, if you will. But yeah, and also Leprechaun, which is, I'm sure y'all can see this right here. I had Leprechaun in the old tube here. And I was watching it. I did not finish Leprechaun. I'm going to be real with y'all before we even jump into Movie Club. I also did not finish Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. And here's why. I'll let you know why. I did if you've been watching the whole time, you know what I'm about to reference. Part 1 of this reference is, you may or may not know, I have been avoiding substances. Part 2 is that I did 90s Mom with a special cigarette. And it was while we were watching this, and I fell so hard asleep, so deeply asleep, and it was outside. I built out a little patio outside since, we've been trapped together in this house for 3,000 years, and so I built out a little deck area with some outlets out there so we can take the tube TV out and build a fire. And oh my gosh, and it was, you know what, y'all? Here's the thing. I made it too dang cozy. And I was sitting in the little rocking chair out there. I'm talking about how I made outside too dang cozy.
Oh my God, we watched Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 out there.
That's what I was talking about. I was talking about how I had a 90s Mom special cigarette on my cozy patio and fell asleep watching Silent Night.
A 90s Mom special cigarette?
My 90s Mom special cigarette.
Oh, yeah. I fell asleep right away.
Not right away, but,
Well, right away-ish. Yes, Holdenwook says he saw the patio photos and looks super cozy. It is super cozy. You're a queen.
Thank you.
Who out there has seen Silent Night, Deadly Night? I don't know if ZPGB's still here, but ZPGB has a big box, an original big box. Okay, so in case you don't know, back in the day, now you see this big old, I actually have perfect example right here. So back in the day, before VHS are in the little tape holder boxes that we now know, many of them arrived in what were like $70 to $80 to $90 tapes. And they were in big boxes, and they were like a big event to buy. And the idea was that video stores would spend a lot of money on them, and then they'd make their money back by renting them. So here's an example of a big old clamshell for Creepshow. And here's an example of the original release of Poltergeist 2. See? It's in a big old box. And so big box releases was the standard for a while until small tape sizes came along. Silent Night, Deadly Night was originally released in a big box, a box this size. It's very hard to find nowadays. ZPGB not only has that big box copy, but here's the fun thing that I was told recently by ZPGB. The copy he owns is the rental copy from the small video store in Wimberley that he grew up at.
No.
Yes, and they went out of sale and he bought it. Yeah, I'm telling your story about how your copy of Silent Night, Deadly Night Big Box is the original copy that you rented or that was at your video store as a kid. I just think that's so magical, so wonderful.
What's your video store?
A Wimberley video store. Yeah, do you remember what it was called?
Wimberley video store?
Was it called Ye Old Clamshell? So Zane, I mean
the other
ZPGP
kiosk at next to the steampunk kiosk at
next to the steampunk one, the Pizza Hut video store. That just makes me so happy. Sorry, I didn't mean to overreact.
No, that's amazing. I love that.
That's
I was just wondering if
amazing.
I was trying to remember if I'd ever been there because it was in Wimberley. And I was wondering if ZBGB ever went to Showstopper Video in Dripping Springs.
Did you ever go to Showstopper Video in Dripping?
I think that's what it's called, Showstoppers.
So I assume you've seen Silent Night, Deadly Night, ZPGB. My first time watching these was this year. And I got, first of all, I love taglines that reference more famous things. The tagline on the front of this is if Nightmare on Elm Street gave you sleepless nights, and if Halloween made you jump at every shadow, and if Friday the 13th, every Friday the 13th was more frightening than the others, then beware, Santa's here.
Ho, ho, ho.
I love that. I loved this movie. This is a big wreck for me.
Me too.
Why don't you talk about that? Because you, like, while we were watching it, you were like, this is about trauma. This is about inherited vice. Like,
yeah.
There's so much going on in this movie.
I had a lot to say at the time, and now I've got my cotton ball brain, and I don't have my brain vinegar for my pickling.
I really want to know what ZPGP said. No.
Oh, I think Showstopper Video.
Oh, okay.
I think.
That makes sense.
Okay, look, I just know that I loved this video. I just know that I loved this movie. I thought it was great. I don't even remember like all the wheels that were turning in my mind while we were watching it or right after. I just remember being like, that movie whipped.
So, y'all know how earlier when we were talking about Bloody New Year, I was like, certain movies do not pass the test of as good as their cover art. Silent Night, Deadly Night, one of my favorite cover arts. It's a photo, also a live photo of someone posing for this. This passes the test.
Yeah, for sure. Let me see this photo.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, the plot is a kid sees his parents murdered by a crazy criminal in a Santa costume.
Yeah.
He grows up forced to encounter and interact with Santa at an orphanage run by a sadistic and controlling Mother Superior nun. Then she eventually gets him a job when he's 18. Like, the first half of this movie is, like, following this kid.
It's just...
Which I thought was interesting, because normally in horror movies, we get, like, teens or a main character, and then there's the bad guy following them. But
yeah.
I think we both were like, this movie, the main character of this movie is the killer.
Yeah.
Which is... That kind of never happens.
Yeah. And it's really, like, interesting to have that lead up and to know the trauma and to, like, see all of the dominoes being lined up.
Uh-huh. And then the second half of the movie is just a fantastic Christmas killing spree. And then the second movie picks up the first one, the little brother of the killer main character in the first one witnesses it. The second movie, which is the one we just watched, Garbage Day.
Whoa!
This movie is like about the little brother continuing to be a killer, but the first 45 minutes of this movie are a recap of the first one, footage for footage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you watch these as a double feature, you can easily fast forward halfway through the second one.
Yeah.
It is so lazy.
Unlike the Friday movies where it's like, we've just, lobbed off like 7 to 15 minutes of...
Yeah, the Friday movies are like, here's 5 minutes of it.
Yeah,
10
yeah,
minutes.
yeah. Whatever, however long it is. But this, and that's part of the reason that my cozy butt went to Dreamtown. Because I was like, first of all, this movie is just making me want to watch Silent Night, Deadly Night again.
Right, yeah, same.
But it's showing me this movie in a way that's just annoying me and bothering me that I'm not watching this movie. That I'm like, okay, why am I watching this movie when I could be watching this movie? And then my brain went, I've seen this movie. I'm sleepy. Good night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I didn't see the end of this. I woke up at the very, very end. I woke up and saw the last 2 minutes and then went right back to bed.
And guess what we have to watch now?
And I'm excited about this one.
Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. The horror classic that shocked the world is back with a new, mind-jolting terror in Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. Dr. Newbury has saved the life of the hideously injured Ricky Caldwell, the killer, the younger brother killer from 2.
Now, do I need to finish this?
The doctor has encased his patient's exposed brain inside a plexiglass cap. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Do you need to finish it? I told you how it ends. You honestly only fell asleep for like the last for like the last 10 minutes. It wouldn't take you long to finish it.
So the whole movie was just Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Well, the whole movie's Silent Night, Deadly Night, and then it's Ricky going on his little daytime spree and the Garbage Day line, and it just across the board, it's not as good. You see the crew in certain shots.
Yeah.
The acting's terrible.
It's like they got greenlit and then realized they didn't have any budget, and they were like, how do we pull this off with 2 people in one location?
A lot of that. for sure.
Yeah, and the acting was so... That's the other thing.
Okay, personally, I loved that guy. He's so bad, but I loved him.
He's so bad.
Eric Freeman.
I think I said multiple times out loud as I was drifting off, like, this acting is so bad.
Oh yeah, it's
I
awful.
was like, oh, this acting is so bad.
Awful. You woke up about 5 different times. Well, what do you think? Recommend wise. For me, Silent Night, Deadly Night is like
100%
must see.
recommend.
Awesome. Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is like, if you like the first one, throw it on when you're high.
Sure.
Or don't.
Right before you go to sleep.
Yeah. Okay. Midsummer? Do you even want to talk about it?
I don't know. I guess, like, let's ask the chat.
Look, we watched Midsummer. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, just if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. I could take or leave a talk. I did just watch it today. It's fresh on my mind, but you know, I haven't really like sat with it because I watched it right before the stream.
It could give you a fresh perspective, but
yeah, I mean, I'm down.
This movie really bothered you.
It didn't.
It put you in a bad headspace.
It did. It put me in a bad headspace.
I think you, and I'm not trying to air your laundry or anything, but as soon as it ended, you said, well, my day is ruined.
No.
I'm not saying that.
I said, well, that kind of ruined my day.
Kind of ruined my day. Sorry, I'm coloring it too dramatically.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just trying to say, like, you didn't. I don't think that meant you didn't like it.
I'll tell you why.
Pay those. I want to make a movie called Pre-Winter, and guess what? It's a secret Jack Frost sequel.
Jack Frost 3, The Haberdashery.
The Cursed Hat.
The Cursed Hat.
The first half of the movie is just Jack Frost 1.
Oh, boy. Okay. I think the reason... I'm sorry.
I feel so giggly all of a sudden.
Because I'm thinking about
you made me feel
the Cursed
giggly.
Hat. I think the reason Midsummer, like, kind of did... that's the third kiosk. No, how many pop-up shops?
I gotta be real. I'm having
Comic-Con?
trouble visualizing this mall you want to build.
No, it's a series of pop-up shops at Comic-Con.
Okay.
Come on, y'all.
Got it. I'm there.
The Cursed Hat.
I'm there. It's like I stepped in the TARDIS.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Midsummer kind of ruined my day. The reason is it was not what I was expecting. If I had gone in with more of an understanding of what I was about to consume, maybe I would have been more prepared, but I went in completely cold, knowing absolutely nothing about this movie, somehow avoiding any and all anything. Like, I didn't even remember the trailer. Yeah. Anyways, Midsummer. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it.
What you were going somewhere?
I don't know. I think that's part of the reason my brain is so foggy is because I watched that movie and then I was like, oh, okay.
Okay, I'll do a little capsule review of it. And you chime in if I make you think of anything. I just Frosty, but the magic hat is a derby with whirling blades that it throws to kill people.
See, that's fun.
I would watch that. Okay, Midsummer, I don't totally know how to talk about Midsummer without kind of spoiling.
That's the thing. That's why I wanted to say, like,
Wicker Man?
What is the chat?
Yeah, we need to know
Like-
how y'all feel, and maybe we can come back to it. It's hard to talk about this movie without spoiling it, because here's how I felt about Midsummer. I think that Ari Aster has a real talent for getting very emotional, very earnest, real feeling expressions of grief, panic, and terror from his actors. And I think Florence Pugh was just incredible in this movie. I think that as a dramatic story about grief for the beginning, it was fantastic. And here's the thing. I kind of had this problem with Hereditary, where I felt like I loved watching this movie. I felt like it was such a good, grounded movie about grief as it manifests and impacts our lives. And then the ending wanted to take me somewhere that I'd seen before.
I also haven't seen
Don't worry, I'm not gonna.
I know. I'm just saying. I hadn't seen that movie either as like any kind of like touch point
for Ari
going
Aster.
into yeah.
And then the ending of really, I really liked Hereditary, but the reason it didn't feel like to me like it stuck the landing was because I was familiar with the ending. And I'm not trying to be lazy here and say, oh, you're copying an older movie, therefore you're bad. I don't think that. I think that it just was so much emotional buildup for me to have that happen. Feels like betrayal's a harsh word, but it feels like the surprise and not in a fun way. Like, oh, I've seen this though. This is very famous. And for Midsummer, or for Hereditary, it was Rosemary's Baby. It was, I've seen the spoiler here for 5 seconds. So mute your computer for 10 seconds, I promise. Stephanie, close your eyes. Close your ears.
Really?
Well, yeah, if you don't want it spoiled.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen the ending where it's all a cult trying to summon the devil. Okay. That was a spoiler. And with Midsummer, when I saw the trailer in theater, I'd already seen Hereditary, and I kind of felt this way about Ari Aster. I was like, man, this guy is so talented. He is such a good stylist. He knows what he's doing with that camera, and he knows how to direct performances like, whoa. But I want someone to note this dude's endings. And that's how I felt. And when I saw the Midsummer trailer in theater, I made a joke afterwards. I was like, that Midsummer movie looks cool, but it better not just be fucking Wicker Man. And I was like joking. I watched it this week, and again, spoiler here for both, kind of. The ending is the ending of Wicker Man. And I was shocked and horrified when I first saw Wicker Man, and it really got to me. And so watching it this time, I was like, man, I was really invested in this. And as soon as that ending started happening, I was like, no, please be different. And that's very personal. That doesn't mean it's bad or good. That's not objective. That's just me personally. I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum. I did Google Midsummer Wicker Man, and I found that Ari Aster actually did a few interviews about this. And he talked to Wired magazine and said that he tried to forget Wicker Man as soon as he was talking about this, as soon as he started making the movie. But I also saw a Variety review, and this comforted me because I was like, okay, I'm not alone in this. I read a Variety review of Midsummer that said, it was a very positive review, but it said, this is a remake of Wicker Man. Verbatim, it said that. And I was like, okay, cool. So I don't feel alone in this. I just want to jump in and say,
based on what Pathos said in the chat, you're talking about the original Wicker Man, not the remake.
Yeah, there's a remake of Wicker Man with Nick Cage that has fun moments, but the original 70s Wicker Man is this like high mark of horror in the 70s. And the original Wicker Man is about a Celtic village that a man goes to explore, a man representing the outside world. It's a very matriarchal, flower, rune, a lot of similar notes. And it famously ends with, the Wicker Man. See it if you haven't. If you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Very similar. In fact, exactly the same as Midsummer. And that's all. It just disappointed me because I could tell there was this pastoral horror. I loved what Ari Aster did with the visuals. I loved the mushrooms. I loved the unreality of the movie. But I will say this is a movie that I think, maybe I'm being mean, I think this movie, and I think Hereditary as well, kind of thinks it's smarter than it is. It's really stylistically great. There's a lot of stuff early in the movie at the apartment and the houses that's the same sort of imagery. And I remember when I watched this, asking myself, where does that connect? Is that just semantic? I think that it is. I think this movie is about a breakup, obviously. It's about a relationship. I didn't feel that it had a lot to say that I hadn't seen said by a lot of horror movies in terms of the death of the patriarchy, the rebirth of the feminine through ritual, and the feminine and magic. And I think that it's a worthy addition to that canon, but it was definitely just really hard for me to separate from, to be frankly, just disappointment that the ending didn't actually offer me anything new as a horror fan. And so I think if you're a horror fan who has watched The Wicker Man, watched the Wicker Man remake, you just go in knowing that, like, don't expect too much originality, but the ride is wonderful. And that is my rant. And I hope that I didn't yuck anyone's yum. I know people, I want to be delicate because I never on this show or as a film fan, I never want to be the guy who's like, fuck the popular thing because it's popular. And so I really don't want to be like contrarian. That's my honest opinion. I Was disappointed that my joke about it came true. Other than that, Florence Pugh is just, I cannot wait to see her do more. I would love to see Ari Aster collaborate on the script for his next project. And I would recommend it if you're a fan of horror. Of course, I would also recommend Wicker Man if you've never seen it, because it's fucking great.
Yeah, no, for
and
sure.
That's it. That's me. That's my review.
And I get you. And like, look, I agree with everything you said. Completely agree. I agree that, you know, you could, nothing about how that story like ended was surprising or unfamiliar, or even in many of the ways that it unfolded. I do think that Florence Pugh was amazing. I think, honestly, that's part of the reason that movie was difficult for me to watch, is because she conveys panic and grief so well. And, you know, as someone with a panic disorder who has experienced that level of grief, it was like visceral. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh God, like I really started feeling, and I was drinking coffee at the same time, so maybe that wasn't a good combo. My baseline was a little fucked, but I was really starting to feel that sort of hot, tingly sensation you get before you have a panic attack, and I was like, wow, what is happening? I do think that the visuals were really, you know, really beautiful, like, and I really appreciated the way that he was able to subtly kind of manipulate things to where you were questioning your own reality while you were watching the film, of like maybe somebody's eye was a little bit bigger when it wasn't happening consistently.
Yeah,
like,
I noticed that point too.
Like,
or like the little flower that's dilating.
Yeah. The one part that really freaked me out was when the first time that she's having a mushroom trip and she's like sort of tilting to a bad trip is when I forget the Swedish, the guy that brings them.
Right.
What was his name?
I don't remember
his name. But anyways, his mouth is very wide, like Cheshire, exaggerated. And he said, "You want to come meet my friends?" And like, but his smile was so big. It was like just not big enough that you wouldn't quite notice that it was like, I really truly thought that was really masterfully done, and that like tripping visuals were done so well that they were like subtle enough to make you whatever. But I also, another thing that I found really difficult to watch as far as this movie's concerned is that aspect of grieving. Oftentimes when you're grieving, especially if you're grieving, is instead of like sitting with your emotions, you are taking a lot of drugs and alcohol, that you start to lose time. And that also goes hand in hand with Midsummer, with no night or very little, you know, it's mostly daylight. You can't tell when one day ends and one day begins, which is like a huge thing with grief. It all just becomes a blur. And I found like all of that like very unnerving and very relatable. And then I will also say, the from the moment that they do the shot of driving in,
right,
where it flips upside down, I was like, oh, this movie's gonna make me nauseous.
That shot kind of annoyed me, to be real.
Some of those shots did annoy me because I was like, okay, I get what you're doing. It's actually just kind of making me nauseous.
I was like, okay, Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah.
It feels the same to me. Darren Aronofsky is another director who I think thinks he's smarter than he is.
Yeah.
And I felt,
I get we were getting taken into another world.
Yes,
we wanted
exactly.
to be disoriented. There was a disoriented.
But that's also a taste thing, because I'm a fan of a good lateral. I love realism, and that's my problem. That's my burden as a stupid film fan of realism. I am never quite as drawn to style.
I mean, the fact that it made us both feel nauseous, made us both think about that, you know, is telling. The only other thing I will say is, okay, so I've talked about like the emotional aspects of how it just, you know, a lot with grief and panic and whatever. And also like, I don't know. Anyways, I'll have to think about it a little more. But yeah, that was hard for me to watch. But the other thing is, I wasn't expecting it to be so gratuitously violent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing, that those two aspects of the film kind of compounded for me to make me go, oh, that kind of ruined my day. I really had no idea, like, it was going to be that, like, in your face with the violence. I personally am extremely disturbed by manipulation of corpses.
A lot of that going on in this movie.
That's the thing, is what I was trying to express to you, like, when I first...
I got it, yeah.
I was trying to, like, get out, like say it, and I wasn't processing it well. That is something for me that is, like, has always disturbed me on a different level, will always disturb me on a different level from a lot of other types of visuals and violent visuals. Something about the manipulation of corpses I find existentially so disturbing and so dreadful and really unnerving and unsettling, and this whole movie is like that.
See, and I get that. That's like a deep existential fear. For me, like, when we saw that
nauseous.
At the end, I was like, oh, you made a little person snowman. I was I think I found a lot of it silly.
I know, and I get that. I totally get that. And this was another thing we were kind of starting to talk about, is I often find that, especially people who are into film or into specific genres, or who maybe have built up a very high tolerance to visuals, practical effects, anything like that, that there's almost like this badge of honor of like, oh, that didn't bother me, or no. Hear me out. I'm not. This is not a personal attack. Let it be known, this is not a personal attack. I'm saying, like, there's often this sort of badge of honor, and it's not even like a negative thing of, I know that's fake. It doesn't bother me. I've seen it all. Like, and I don't think there's anything wrong with, even if you thought that the plot was kind of silly or unoriginal or whatever, with successfully executed disturbing visuals actually making you feel unnerved.
Oh yeah, I mean, that stuff unnerved me too, don't get me wrong. I mean, the graphic violence at the end, the ending, the like tree people, like that was gross and scary. I think I was just also fascinated by it. I think when I say silly, it doesn't even mean I'm trying to write it off. To me, I was like, oh, that's a fun design. Like, I was weird. I was like thinking about it like I lived there.
I know.
I was like, that's a fun design to have a little like apples in the belly and then sticks coming out of the mouth. That's a cute idea. I was like admiring the cult members' art. Also, I gotta say that Pathos reminded me that in the Nick Cage one, there's also Nick Cage stuck in a bear suit, and that kind of infuriates me.
No, and I will say that the bear suit thing was the only thing that, like, made me go, okay, this is ridiculous and very one-to-one. But it's the acting, the successful acting of panic and grief and sort of that loss of days that you feel when you're in grief, and really just like, you know, compounding that with overuse of drugs and alcohol as a form of coping, and that making you do things that you're out of your mind, you're literally being swallowed by grief, you're like it's just like, I'm like, it just
I loved Mark at the beginning of the movie saying, what time is it? And I'm saying 9. And him being like, why is the sun out? It's not right.
I know.
I really liked that moment.
I liked it too.
I liked him talking about his trip.
The second that the initial ceremony was completed, I was like, oh, okay. All right, this is going to be hard for me to...
What was the initial ceremony?
The 72-year-old.
Yeah, so that's a perfect example of, like, that imagery was shocking. Those makeup effects and prosthetic effects were really fantastic, and it was shocking, and it was gross, especially the broken legs. Really gross and very visceral, very successful. I don't think that, you know, I am one of those people who has a badge of honor about, like, the shit I've seen, kind of.
You heard it here first.
Well,
no, I know.
But hold on.
With you.
But like, but at the same time, that's to say, oh, I acknowledge how much it's impactful. Not it's not impactful. when I say it's silly or whatever, that's me having some time. When I'm actually watching the movie, I'm trying, I think, as a responsible film viewer, you should never think you're smarter than something you're watching. You should always open yourself up to letting it take you where it wants to take you emotionally and viscerally. And I deliberately knew that I might have an issue with Midsommar because of the Wicker Man thing going in, and I turned that part of my brain off. And I think that's why I reacted even worse when it actually happened.
Yeah.
Because I was like so letting myself be committed. I cried at the beginning of the movie when she gets that bad news. Her performance reminded me of real grief so much that I empathy cried. And I was along for the ride.
Did it remind you of my real grief?
Yeah, I didn't want to bring that up, but
no, it's fine because it reminded me of my real grief. It was so truly, like, perfectly display of moment of a true moment of grief.
Yeah, it reminded me of your grief, and it hurt. Mm-hmm. It wasn't pleasant. And I think that if you, as a filmmaker, are going to access that, then you need to take that somewhere. And I'm all for fuck that, honestly. I don't even agree with what I said. You don't have to take it anywhere. You owe us nothing. No one owes us anything as a filmmaker. Mm-hmm. But creating that sucked me in, and so I'm not trying to be holier than thou. The jumping off the cliff part shocked me too.
Yeah.
And Vineet was mentioning that's how he felt after he saw Martyrs. Have you seen Martyrs?
No.
Martyrs is a very, very violent, very disturbing. If you look up lists of most disturbing movies, you're gonna get it on there. I hate Martyrs. I watched it with my friend Nikki in Iowa City because he wanted me to watch it. I think that some things have a point and some things don't. Martyrs is French nihilism. It's modern French nihilism, which I kind of just have a grudge against. I'm like, okay, we get it. Nothing means anything. God damn it. It's so annoying. Well, it's a very French nihilist movie that is centered around that, but there's a badge of honor, and this I will say. So I didn't have it with Martyrs as much because I think at that point I was like, don't try to shock me, Martyrs. But I feel it with Salo. I felt it with Irreversible. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of things you watch that you're like, I got through that. I think it's kind of often kind of young male feeling, is to like conquer your fear of a film in that way. And I say male not in a badge of honor way, in a like you're looking for a conquest. You're looking to conquer.
I know, for sure.
But with Midsommar, I didn't really feel. I see what you're saying. Anyway, it sounds like Vineet knows exactly what you're saying too. I would say my feeling with that was more with Salo.
Yeah, and I get that. I just...
And I don't even know, maybe I'd like Martyrs now. Vineet, I'm not trying to shit on Martyrs, by the way. I remember when I first saw it, I really hated it. I was mad at it for trying to do that to me. I was mad at it for trying to shock me.
Yeah, I think...
It's been years.
I think that's sort of how I felt about this movie, honestly, the violence felt so gratuitous that it was like... It almost felt like a gotcha. You know? What do you...
Sorry, Vineet mentioned another really shocking movie called I Saw the Devil, which is a South Korean horror movie.
Right.
It's about a guy who's getting revenge on someone for killing his child, I think. Mm-hmm. And so he finds the murderer who killed his child, and he basically tortures him within an inch of his life and lets him go multiple times.
That's awful.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel that. Badge of honor. I get you, Vineet.
Yeah. But see, nothing... Yeah, whatever. That sounds so disturbing. And the way that this story unfolds is not disturbing. It's very commonplace. Like, we know this story about this pastoral, like, culty sort of...
Yeah, something bad's coming.
Nice white people being like, no, we inbreed, but only sometimes. You know what I mean?
Also, I gotta say that when I watched it, the whole, like, jumping off a cliff thing, I was like, oh, yeah, I get their philosophy. Like, this is their, like, I should be anthropomorphically fair and not judge them, and this is their philosophy as a community. Like, they get to decide when they want to die. It's every human's right to decide when they want to die. And then today when I was working and I overheard you watching that scene and I heard the thumping and, like, the jumping, I just laughed to myself. I was like, those dumb cult members, they're only 72, those dummies. Yeah. And I just thought it was much funnier. in retrospect.
I get that.
It's like, you cult members, you could have lived so much longer.
I think also the fact that I paused, I took a break, and you said that to me before I'd finished watching the movie, and when I was
sorry, I didn't realize how far along you were in the movie.
When I was feeling like
I shouldn't have said anything.
It just was like, okay, shut up. Like, I thought it was funny, and I was having a panic attack.
I didn't think it was funny when I watched it, though, and I shouldn't have said that.
I know.
That was me hearing it through the wall a day later and being like, oh, that is kind of silly.
But that's the thing, is maybe tomorrow I will feel differently about this movie, but and the fact that we've talked about it as long as we have, and that I also, out of curiosity, went on Amazon and looked up bad reviews, and I screenshotted some, and I thought maybe I could read some.
Okay. I'm not trying to shit on Midsommar
I'm not either. I'm not either. Let me finish.
But yeah.
I'm not either.
Sorry.
I'm saying the fact that this movie is so divisive, that people seem to either want to write novellas on Amazon reviews, or that they are like 1-star fuck off. Like, I hate you. Do you give refunds for time, Amazon? Like,
it is a long one.
That says something for sure, right? That says something. For me, like I was saying before, it almost felt like did I get you? I gotcha. Because the violence was so gratuitous. It was so disgusting. The visuals felt like they were just trying to be like, how nasty can we be? And again, I did not know going in that this movie would be so viscerally about grief and about anxiety and about feeling lonely in a relationship that's unhealthy. And on top of that, just the disgusting cherry on top of that was that I just so happened to have such a intense aversion to corpse manipulation that not knowing either one of those things going in, I was like, I wish I had, you know what? I don't mind doing cold watches on things, but for that, maybe I wish I would have had a little actually, maybe I wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah, I think it's good you watched it.
It's good that I watched it. I'm glad I watched it. Will I ever watch it again? That's a no. However, I am curious about the director's cut, because there's like a lot of little, callback Nick Cage bees buzzing around about the director's cut and how it changes the movie.
Yeah, people really like it. I will say that if it's more build up to the same ending, I will probably have a similar feeling of disappointment. But I am curious and do want to watch it.
I just never want to watch that movie again.
Well, to your point about...
It's seared in my brain.
Well, that's good. That's a powerful movie, right? But I think that...
I won't sleep well tonight.
You'll be fine.
I won't. I have very bad nightmares.
Okay, well, what were you talking about? The violence, the gotcha. And by the way, I just want to say that this picks up.
Oh, right.
But
sorry, I've been a lot of touching the table.
To the point about extreme violence, just coming out of nowhere, I do feel that it's a tool that can be used, and I think a lot of filmmakers, but particularly Ari Aster, use this tool of shock because it feels adult. And that is something that immediately feels youthful to me. And what I mean by that is that if you are proving how adult you are by how shocking you can be, you're young.
And to me,
But hold on. So, I'm sorry, but I want to finish my point about Midsommar. So, the gotcha, violence parts of it. Like, yes, I do think that there's a lot of, like, the close-up shot of, like, the tapestry of the trimming the pubes and putting it in things. And his love of group nudity. Hereditary also has some group nudity in it. I feel that these things that it seems like he thinks he's being Stanley Kubrick by being like, behold my shocking tapestry of nudity and violence. And I think for me, I'm like, okay, dude, do you have a script here? And I think there's a lot of holes in this script as well about how things happen. And the movie coasts on the fact that you're tripping the whole time and that there's an unreality. The movie uses that to say, look over here, don't look over here. Why is this leg sticking up out of the ground that surely someone would have seen before? Don't worry about it, my friend. How did all these characters disappear and get completely undid in the space and no one ever saw it? Don't you worry about it. You were on drugs, dude, remember? And I think to do that to an audience for nearly 3 hours does demand a little bit more of a payoff. And I think my ultimate criticism, I keep coming back to it, is just the ending. To have the ending of something that has already been very famous on top of all that, felt like I got short-sheeted.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. Like, it's annoying to go through that movie and then be like, you couldn't, like, yes, there are plot holes. Really? Nobody, like, thought this is suspicious? Only 2 people were like, JK, I'm out.
Well, because the movie wants to be
because it's like they throw on the layer of like the anthropologist. And, like,
well, not just that, but I guess I'm saying it wants to be a mainstream film with an indie film's logic.
No, I know.
Yeah, art film's logic.
Right. But what I agree. It's funny because I feel like we agree.
You do. I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
No. I feel like
I'm building off what you're saying, or responding to it, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like for me, the gotcha moment was like, I want you to feel as disgusting as it feels to feel mental illness and to feel that compound, like that layered with grief. Because when you have mental illness and you're experiencing grief, it makes you feel physically ill. It makes you feel like you want to vomit all the time. Not all the time, but it's like it surprises you in the same way a panic attack does, and the same way that her grief and her panic sort of sneak up on you, and the violence and the disturbing imagery in this movie just kind of, you're like, oh, okay. Like I agree with you when it's like, oh, group nudity and look at this tapestry and blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, okay, did a college kid write this? Like,
it feels collegey, but yes. So there is. I think that's why I struggle with it.
But
this is why
is this a good movie or not?
Yes.
I'm pissed off. I'm just annoyed.
That's why I struggle with it.
I'm annoyed that now I have those visual images seared into my brain.
This is why I struggle with his movies, is because is it a good movie or not? Is it college kid ideas or is it smart? And I don't know, because the thing I loved about Midsommar and loved about Hereditary is precisely what you're saying, is it uses violence and shock and maybe I'm contradicting what I said 10 minutes ago. Fuck that. I'm changing my mind as we talk.
We got the brain vinegar.
We got brain vinegar, but I love how it uses violence to approximate what it feels like to have a panic attack, what approximates what it feels like to have intense grief, mental illness. And I think that's what Hereditary, like Toni Collette screaming her brain out in Hereditary feels more to me like a filmic representation of mental illness than 1,000 other things. And I think through the performance of that, it's brilliant. Florence Pugh at the top of this movie reacting to the tragedy that offsets the entire plot. Just this beautiful portrayal, and later in the movie, the beauty of pain that is, and later in the movie, the shocking things we see do feel like gut punches and do feel like, oh, I'm just mentally ill. That's what I love about him. That's what I love about his movies, is that he accomplishes the feelings of mental illness through shock. What I don't love about him is that the final acts of his movies short sell everything that's come before by trying to shock me as a viewer in a way that makes everything else that felt so deep and meaningful feel cheap and using me.
Yeah.
And that's where I say, is this a heartfelt movie where you're using tools of the horror genre to explore real human mental illness and emotions? Or is this a setup where you want to put me emotionally on edge so that you can do an ending you think makes you seem smart? And I don't know which of the two it is.
And I don't either. And it's annoying.
That's how I feel. But it's interesting.
It is interesting.
Well.
Was that Movie Club or was it Movie Club?
That wasn't Movie Club. Movie
Club was Leprechaun.
Bitches. I'm going to go grab one more beer, my last beer of the stream, and turn off this buzzing laundry.
Yeah, which y'all can't
and did anyone watch Leprechaun? This is our Movie Club pick, and let's talk about what next week's Movie Club pick 2 is as well. Also, The Ring. The Ring, I would love to rewatch The Ring. It has been years. I love me some Gore Verbinski. I remember bonding with my high school girlfriend because neither of us our first date was The Ring, and we weren't afraid of it, and we thought it made us so cool. And I dated her for 6 months, and she was wonderful. And then I remember watching The Ring over and over. One really fun thing about The Ring DVD, the first DVD that came out of The Ring, is it had a special feature Easter egg on it. Whereas if you had surround sound in your home theater, which I was lucky enough to have at the time, when you put the DVD in, if you scroll to away from the options like play, chapters, etc., it highlights a secret little tape icon in the corner. You hit that, it plays you the uncut entire version of the Ring short film from The Ring. Then it takes you back to the main menu. And after you've been back in the main menu for 5 seconds, the rear right speaker in your surround sound is a phone ringing. And I just think that's so delightful.
That is delightful. Oh, another thing about Midsummer, which one of the Yelp reviews that I screen capped, or a few of them that I read, I was like, oh, I'm not alone in this. Especially if I'm like, if my emotions are heightened or whatever, or I get overstimulated. I can be overstimulated easily, especially by sound. And the mixing of sound in Midsummer feels deliberately imbalanced. So where like the dialogue, you're sort of like, and then the music, you're like, okay, oh, okay. Anyways, so while Adam is doing what he's doing, and if y'all don't like this, just tell me. I'll never do it again. But I thought it might be interesting to do dramatic readings of terrible not dramatic readings, just readings of these terrible Amazon reviews for Midsummer, just a couple of them. Okay. This one just says no. That's the title of it. And then below it says, the people giving this 5 stars are exactly the type who would join a cult like Midsummer and eat the applesauce. You put an overbearing soundtrack over enough slow, dragging scenes, completely fail to edit, and somehow it's a masterpiece with European sensibilities ruminating on the narrow mindedness and superficiality of American culture? No. It's sad how desperate some reviewers are to appear highbrow as they mindlessly follow the generic signals of a supposedly deep film. Could you draw parallels between the events in this movie with stages of grief over death and or a breakup? Sure. But should it take 2.5 hours and uninspired generic cult scenes to convey that? Not if the writer and directors have talent. Think of any cult movie you've ever seen, and it's just like this, but over too long a time. Sacrifices, drugs, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Here's one that's 1 star. Unnecessary gore, sexually explicit, shallow, stupid, vulgar waste. Someone find the writers, producers, actors, and everyone else involved. Lock them up and throw away the key. They are broken, damaged people. What? This one says, be secure in your relationship, ! Before you watch, ! Well worth the time invested. P.S. Make sure your relationship is stable before watching, ... It can get weird.
Can we watch Possession, Stephanie? Do you feel stable enough to watch Possession with me?
I don't know.
Possession is the movie. The movie about how relationships will destroy you.
Hold on. This one says this movie smells so bad. I can't watch it again. Again. Spelled wrong. Bad acting by a bunch of unknowns. Silly premise. Who is this nuts? Boring most of the time. I skipped through this crap most of the movie. This is my opinion. Watch this movie.
See,
you can use it to go to sleep.
This is the kind of stuff that makes me want to like defend. Anytime it's like, no matter how much I like something or dislike it, if I see idiots feeling one way,
Hold on, I did appreciate this one review title, 1 star, smorgasboring.
That's good.
I just had to say.
Do you think they meant to do the play on words with a Swedish word, or do you think that was an accident?
No, I don't think it was an accident.
Yeah, you think that was intentional?
Yes.
Smorgasboring. I did not find it boring at all.
I didn't either.
I thought it was actually really watchable.
I didn't either. I will say that the negative reviews on Amazon, 95% of them, no. Actually, I take that back immediately. About half of them were extremely angry. Like, I don't know if you heard one of the ones that was like, find everyone involved in this movie and lock them up and throw away the key. They're all damaged people. They were either super, super angry or very like, I couldn't stop ruffling. This movie was so silly. I just LOL'd through this whole movie.
Okay, there was one very silly part. Can I tell you the thing that I took this movie, like I said, I think it's important to meet every movie where it wants you to meet it. Try to at least. And I did. I let Mr. Astor take me where he wanted to. can I tell you the one thing that I laughed at, and I didn't mean to. I wasn't trying to be a dick. I wasn't going in being like, I'm smarter than this. Laughed by accident. Can I tell you what it was?
Yeah.
It was a little bingo ball machine.
Yeah.
I love that little bingo ball machine.
That little bingo ball
I just thought, I want one of those at my house. I thought, okay, so is Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. I read this when I was 16. But honestly, that did feel like, oh, are you shocking me with a short story we all have to read in 10th grade? Mm-hmm. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I got that.
There's a lot of, like, you know what I mean?
But can I, okay, I know that we really need to talk about Leprechaun and really do a deep dive.
The funny thing is we're going to like talk, we're going to have like one thing to say about Leprechaun.
That's why I said maybe it should be movie club. Anyways.
This was our movie club pick, Stephanie.
No, I know. Okay. The fact that at the end of the movie, at the end of Midsummer, when the one guy who's like, oh, is this a spoiler? Like, mute it.
Spoiler. Put us on mute for 10 seconds. I'm going to count down while you say it, Steph. Okay. Mute.
Okay. I just meant the guy who like takes the drug and it's like, feel no pain, whatever, feel no anxiety, blah, 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 you're about to die. When he screams and you see him getting burned alive, you're just like, oh. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was like, yeah. I was like, duh, dude.
I think that was supposed to be like a shocking moment. And you're just like, you're so numbed to it all at that point. You're like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, of course they're lying about this goop they give you.
Yeah.
I feel no worries. Mm-hmm. Funnily enough, brings me back to the new arrival section of tonight. The new arrival section of tonight, when we were talking about Passion of Joan of Arc. And if you're a real martyr, like Joan was, well, in this movie, they offer her drugs to calm the burning, and she turns them down because she wants to feel her martyrdom. God, this movie is just so much better than every other movie that's ever been made.
Hold on, I want to see what Great Jeff Nerds has to say.
I'm finding myself asking the same questions as y'all during the movie. I think some of the script makes more sense in the DC, but I was definitely more on board with the weirdness. I think I was smiling with Pew at the end. Weirdly enough, Vinny, I want to say something here. When this movie ended, I was mad at the ending. Is this a
spoiler?
No. I'm going to say it in a non-spoilery way. When this movie was ending, I was mad at it. And then when it cut back to that Pew smiling, I was like, I love this. It was a weird thing where I didn't like it, and then I loved the last moment of the film. It was like a nice little sprinkle on top that I really appreciated. I did love that. And, I think a different version of me may have liked this movie a lot more. Depending on when I'd seen it in my life, et cetera, et cetera. I do think that moment was very well executed. Mm-hmm. I do not think that I was smiling with her because I didn't buy into the relationship catharsis as much. Yeah, like I felt that she had... I know that there's a breakup metaphor going on, but I felt that the relationship that was on trial here did not necessitate its dramatic end in the same way. And that perhaps if the boyfriend had been more toxic in an active way, maybe I would have felt that a little bit more.
I don't think it's supposed to be about a breakup. I think that
Ari Aster said it was a breakup movie.
Yeah, but... Well, to me, it's more about, like, that relationship representing the blame she's... Like, the burden that she's carried with her sister and her family, and it's sort of mapped onto that relationship. And it's about, like, letting go of... Like, having a moment of breakthrough of what happened to my family is not my fault. To me, that's what the smile was about. The smile, like when she's heaving and screaming and grieving towards the end of the movie, it's a cathartic release, obviously, that's being echoed by the women around her. We don't need to talk about that, but to me, that's what that smile was about. It was sort of about like this thing of other people always dictate how I live my life.
Right.
And her boyfriend dictated how she lived her life because she felt like she had to be in that relationship to survive.
And he felt like he had to be in it. Neither of them wanted to.
Yeah. It was more of like a independent, like a moment of like, oh, I'm free of, not like I'm let's get shots. I just broke up with my boyfriend. Like, I am free.
Yeah.
I'm blaring Lizzo in the car with the windows down all the way to 6th Street. Get out of my way.
Can I pitch an alternate ending to this movie and see what you think?
Sure.
Okay, so again, major spoilers for Midsummer coming. Major spoilers. I'm going to hold up my hand like this. This means mute. I am talking about spoilers for the movie Midsummer. When I do this, you can unmute. When I thumbs up. Okay, here it goes. 3, 2, 1. Spoiler zone. Here's my proposed new ending to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
We know that they have all sorts of dust and trippy psychedelic stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why make it fire? That's Wicker Man.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you make it they're all in a building and we use a gas to suffocate them, forcing her to confront the literal trauma that started the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then why don't you make her entering that room of everyone dead from the gas, looking at her boyfriend's body and then smiling? That feels like a much harder hit to the gut in terms of catharsis than the flames. That's just me. That's because I think the flames felt arbitrary and elemental in a way that felt forced.
Okay. I hear that.
All right, you can unmute. I think it was just the fire, y'all. Like, I really dug this movie. I think it was just fire. And I didn't like that. I felt like I'd seen that, and I was a little annoyed that it wasn't different. And really, for me, and I think we nailed it earlier. It's like, are you exploring these dark themes because you have something to say, or are you exploiting them to get your twist ending in?
Yeah, and it's weird, because I see Vineet in the chat saying I like it. I think about the movie, and maybe about Parappa.
I think he's saying that about my proposed ending.
Oh, the ending. Okay. Right. Yeah, I think the fact that to circle back on what we already said, the fact that we talked about it as long as we did, whatever.
It's always a good sign.
It's a movie that neither one of us can say explicitly, I liked this movie, I loved this movie, or I hated this movie, I disliked this movie. It's just sort of, you're just sort of like, okay, well, that happened.
It's interesting. And this goes back to one of our rules of the video store, which is when I worked at a video store, people say, what did you think of this? I would tell them that I would also say, don't let me influence whether or not you rent it. If you think it looks interesting, you watch it. And you tell me what you think. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think this is a perfect example. We're the clerks of the video store. We don't know. Hey, it's a really interesting movie. Let us know what you think. Watch it if you get a chance to. I would certainly recommend always watching more movies. Shall we talk about Leprechaun?
Sure. Okay, Leprechaun is a movie about...
Leprechaun is maybe the best movie I've ever seen.
It's a movie about grief and independence and mental health.
It's a movie about greed and how if you can't control your greed and you say steal 100 gold coins from an ancient leprechaun, then you might have that leprechaun chasing after you.
Specific like that.
I really loved this, like, so much. Warwick Davis is just chewing the scenery. He's 23 in this movie, y'all. He's a young kid. And Warwick Davis, under makeup, is just blazing it out, being crazy, complaining about gold the whole time, just can't shut up about his stupid gold, killing people left and right. Jennifer Aniston, pre-Rachel Nosejob, is in it, being charming, being adorable, showing us why she's going to be a star. Yeah. This movie is so fun, so silly, and very well produced. Like, I've been watching a lot of straight-to-video horror movies, and I gotta say, like, I'm pretty used to cheap shit. I was surprised watching this. I was like, oh, this movie has, like, good editing. It has a good pace. This isn't like the work of a bunch of amateurs. This is more... There's different weird, like, semicircles around Hollywood where, like, maybe I've been watching stuff like Bloody New Year and Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, which is, like, in this periphery of, like, total unprofessional filmmakers. Mm-hmm. And then Leprechaun is like, oh, we're right on the edge of Hollywood. Like, we've got a good crew. We've got a good editor. I really thought this was just so fun. You watched, like, what, half of it today?
Yeah, I honestly...
Pathos said, Leprechaun is about hearts, stars, horseshoes, clovers, and blue moons, pots of gold and rainbows, and some red balloons.
Oh my god. I did like that little nod to Lucky Charms.
The box?
Yeah. Ooh. No.
Oh, watch the first 45 minutes or so, plus the face melter at the end. Of Leprechaun? Oh, the face melter, yes. Yes, yeah, spoiler for you, but you do get a pretty sweet literal face melting in this movie. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I thought that I enjoyed this so much. Can we also eject the tape real quick? Okay, so I bought this on eBay thinking it was like a random cool rare edition.
Shit. It's gold.
It's a gold tape, but it's a bootleg. This is not how the movie was released. I didn't realize that because he had it queued up in here from watching it last night, and I hadn't. That's funny. It has a little Paramount sticker, so this is likely a gold shell from Godfather Part 3, which was released in a gold shell. Leprechaun was never released in a gold shell. Another giveaway, besides the fact that it has a Paramount sticker on it, and this isn't a Paramount movie, is that, hear that?
Oh,
that is stickiness from someone's label they've removed. Anyway, I bought it on eBay. I paid $15 for it, so I was a little annoyed it was a bootleg, but it played well. It's the original reels. So sometimes people do what's called a reel swap, which is exactly what it sounds like. And so while this is a bootleg copy, these reels are from the original tape, and so there wasn't any actual fidelity loss in the movie itself. So who cares? It's a cool box. And it also has an ad at the top for a Leprechaun sweepstakes where you have to call a 1-900 number and tell them what country Leprechaun's from, and then you get entered to win a bunch of prizes.
With a lot of fine print.
A lot of fine print. And it also says, make sure to ask your parents for permission. And I'm like, okay, R-rated tape.
That's funny.
So how far did you get?
I didn't get too far. I got maybe 40 minutes in, and then I had a meeting, later in the day meeting, and so I don't know. I feel like other than the things that stood out to me were obviously Jin Ann, like, come on, gonna be a star, get out of town.
Mm-hmm. She's so charming.
And I thought it was hilarious that the person playing her, like, well, I don't know how it unfolded, but her would-be love interest, the painter.
That hottie who somehow manages to layer like 3 things with never covering his arms up.
Yeah. Also, they're always covered in like perfect little paint marks that are not realistic. That look that somebody going and they're like not the color that they're painting with. He's talking about like thinner, like removing. Anyways, it's a whole thing. But that guy and the man playing her dad are like the same age.
Oh yeah. Also,
like that guy. She does not. How old is she in this movie?
She's meant to be a teenager.
She does not.
Also, homie from
She looks 27.
You know, this box is also bootlegged. You can tell it's a sticker. Look at this print.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Maybe I'll get a real copy someday. I can't wait to order Leprechaun 2 and Leprechaun 3, which is the original Leprechaun trilogy. And then, of course, Leprechaun 4, Leprechaun in the Hood. Can't wait for that one. Do you know about this?
No.
Leprechaun in the Hood. There's like a whole mini series that's like Leprechaun in the Hood 1, 2, and 3, and then Leprechaun in Space, and then Warwick Davis is Leprechaun in all of them.
No.
Yes.
You're making this up.
No, the Leprechaun franchise goes places. And Leprechaun in the Hood is like basically in the 90s. I worked at a video store. There's a catalog. There's a section in that catalog called Urban Thriller, or Urban. That's just a code for black independent film. And so Leprechaun in the Hood was like designed to basically be a horror movie to appeal to black audiences. And that ended up being successful enough to merit like its own sequel, Leprechaun in the Hood, or Back in the Hood. So there's like, this is a weird franchise because it like goes in one spot and then splits.
I'll finish it up, but and go on a Leprechaun journey with you, but I don't think that if I had finished it, I would have any more to say.
Fair.
It seems like a fun...
You're not going to have much more. Other than Homie from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, the bike thief, Next Door Neighbor. How am I blanking on his name?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Maybe you watched Love Wedding Repeat.
Yeah, maybe I did.
Love Wedding Repeat. Forget.
What is his name? Francis. Francis Buxton plays kind of like a Flowers for Algernon style man-child in this movie.
Is it Algernon or Algernon?
I don't know.
I always thought it was Algernon.
I don't know. We'll have to figure that out on our own time.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm joking. I'm sorry. Am I being hard on you tonight?
No.
Okay, I'm not trying to be like a dick co-host.
No.
Sometimes I try to have banter and I turn into a badter.
Oh, no. Nothing has been taken personally.
All right, good. Leprechaun film series. We're going to look real quick. We got...
did you almost say Flim series?
Flim series, I did. Leprechaun 1, 2, and 3. I think I would... Okay. So Leprechaun 3 and 4 were directed by Brian Trenchard Smith. Remember earlier in the show, maybe, when I was talking about exploitation action movies from Australia? Escape 2000 and Dead End Drive-In, which was one of tonight's new arrivals. That's Brian Trenchard Smith. So I'm actually super intrigued now. And then we've got Leprechaun in the Hood. And we've got Leprechaun Back to the Hood. And then we've got Leprechaun Origins and Leprechaun Returns.
Oh.
So I think there's a real cheap DVD box set. I kind of want to try and get the original trilogy on tape. And then maybe, we'll see. Anyway, wow, that sounds great. And I think that it is Warwick for all of them. Speaking of Pathos calling out the rapper hat, well, guess what? Guess who played this little guy in Return of the Jedi? Warwick Davis. He's everywhere. Thank you, Warwick, for being such a part of the magic of our lives.
Yeah, I did. Something I noticed tonight is one thing that I really miss. Can I just reach right here?
Mm-hmm.
Will you hand me the Bloody New Year?
Yes.
One thing that I miss about like the 90s movies, and we've kind of talked about how box descriptions evolve and change over the years, and how it used to be like a synopsis, like with full on spoilers.
Oh my God, look at this. Look at the back of the first tape release of Creepshow. Look at this text. Look at that. That's all text.
Well, first of
you
all,
think people are gonna read that anymore? Hell no.
Look, if they're spending $40 on a tape,
$80.
Okay, $80.
In the 80s, which is like $150, $200 bucks.
Yeah, so they want to know what they're getting into. They're going to spend that kind of money. But we've talked about how like the backs of things evolve. Anyways, this is especially with this genre and with like horror action, the backs started turning into what feels like a bunch of like amateur copywriters in an ideation room being like,
read what you got.
All right. Okay, next up we have Leprechaun. All right, now remember, you're getting paid $50 to be here. What you got? And they're like, your luck just ran out. Your luck just ran out.
This feels like a character you're writing.
Maybe it is. Bloody New Year. Should old acquaintance be forgot or just brutally murdered?
That's the tagline from the poster, by the way.
That's a good tagline. Now, maybe they got paid a little more.
I don't think that's a good tagline.
Listen. Listen. Here, it gets worse. No need to make reservations for this New Year's party. There's plenty of room. There's plenty of room. Exclamation point.
That's so good. Why is that scary?
There's plenty of room.
This isn't an exclusive party at all. You can come if you want to. To death.
This one is just like, who wrote this? The hotel is all done up for New Year's. The tree's been trimmed since before Christmas. The party clothes are neatly laid out for the guests. There are only 2 catches that dramatically change the premise of this movie that we've just spent these 2 sentences establishing. It's the middle of July. And these guests have been dead for 30 years.
There you go.
Anyways.
Let's talk about pastoral daylit horror. Bloody New Year's daylit horror that gives Midsummer a run for its money.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's a lot of daylight. It's a lot of people outside. It's a lot of British people outside. for most of it.
This one just says Santa's here.
No. It's part of the whole tag. We read it earlier. It's like this whole thing leads up to if Freddy didn't...
If Nightmare on Elm Street gave you sleepless nights and Halloween made you jump at every shadow, I think you pronounce it right.
Shadow.
And if every Friday the 13th was more frightening than the others, then beware. Silent Night in a world. Silent Night, Deadly Night. I can't do that voice.
You skipped the title.
Silent Night,
Then
Deadly Night.
beware.
Oh, Santa's here.
Then beware. Santa's here.
Got it.
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Got it. Okay.
Hey, you know what? No, thank you.
Okay, listen to this though. Silent Night, Deadly Night is in all caps the movie. All caps. They tried to stop you from seeing.
It was. So there was there was a big controversy
Santa.
about it because it was Santa.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's just good marketing.
That is just capture that shock and use it. Okay. Look, honey girl. We've been streaming for 3.5 hours.
Oh, okay, we're good.
We
I'm hungry.
This is good. Like we tonight was easy. Tonight was smooth. Hey, thank you to everyone who was here. We're gonna close the stream down for the night. Is that cool?
Yes, I'm very hungry.
But before we do, we need to pick a movie club pick, and we need to say what our staff picks are for next week. So, thank you for being here, y'all. No more theme weeks for the foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. We'll probably hop back into that in a month or two. But I think for now, go forth and watch whatever movies you're drawn to watch. And let's try and stick to just one movie club pick, and we'll try and watch that. It's an easier lift, I think, for everybody to just try and watch one thing together. Mm-hmm. So let's try and figure out what a movie club pick is. If it's anything that inspired you, I know that we've been in a real horror realm. I kind of want to move from that. And then you and I will do our staff picks. Mm-hmm. Dang, I had a potential staff pick for tonight. I'm forgetting what it was. Oh, it was going to be The Wicker Man, but that's too sassy. That's not going to do that.
I feel like
fuck that.
I feel like honestly, since neither one of us really like has anything top of mind, we can post our staff picks on Instagram.
Are you going to wait?
Unless you have something, and just kind of focus, since we've been going for 3.5 hours. If you just want to focus on picking
let's pick a movie club.
Pick a movie club.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
Because yeah.
Okay, so what are y'all excited about? Did this spark anything for you? Here's a few movies that I know I want to watch in the near future that I'd be happy to make the movie club pick. I really want to rewatch, and maybe we'll do a full pivot from Halloween horror, and let's maybe pick something that's like a classic that we all want to see again. So I know that Seven Samurai I just got on Blu-ray. I'm dying to rewatch it. It's one of the most famous movies ever made. It's been years for me. That's up there for me. It's also longer. Mm-hmm. And honestly, if I'm pitching movie club stuff, y'all, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be selfish. It's gonna be stuff that I've received, basically new arrival stuff that I want to watch. I have a pitch here for Faces Places. Because I want to watch some Varda stuff, and Faces Places is about 90 minutes long. It's new. It's on Amazon Prime, I think, for free, and I adore it. Seven Samurai. Got an upvote on that from Nerds, and I'm looking forward to watching Mishima this week, which is a Paul Schrader film I didn't know about. So Mishima, A Life in 3 chapters, A Life in four chapters. I've heard about this movie. I knew it existed. I've never seen it. I love the art. It's got like a Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters has this beautiful Criterion release that's like rainbow reflective shiny. Actually, you picked it up at half price a few months ago, and we're like, what about this one? And I was like, oh, it's $30. So actually, maybe Mishima. That sounds cool. I'm down for something Japanese. God knows, I have a lot of Japanese stuff that arrived recently that I haven't watched yet.
I think Faces, Places, or Seven Samurai sounds awesome.
Cool.
Or Mishima?
Mishima, A Life in 4 Chapters.
I'm just wondering if that one's accessible.
It's a Criterion release, so likely. Seven Samurai I'd have the same question about. Let's look up on Prime Video and let's see what we got.
Also, my staff pick might just be one of the movies we watched for holiday horror.
Yeah.
If we want to just pop in staff picks, because, yeah.
Okay, you can watch Seven Samurai and Mishima are both. Seven Samurai is a $3 rental on Prime. Mishima is a $4 rental on Prime. And what was the other one? Faces Places.
So that was.
I think it's free. Yeah. Oh, you have to have a trial. Let's see. It's $4 rental if you don't. So these are all rentals, y'all. We are a video store, so it comes with the territory.
True.
I am a big fan of. I mean, I haven't seen Seven Samurai in a long time. What else? New stuff. I'm just looking at scanning the shelf here. Midnight Cowboy. I will say Barry Lyndon. I just picked up at the sale. Barry Lyndon. I'm really excited about rewatching. But I can watch this. Stuff I'm excited about watching doesn't have to be movie club stuff. Movie club should be something we're all enthusiastic about checking out.
Can y'all hear my tummy grumbling?
I hear it. Lady Snowblood.
Oh, that's cool.
Lady Snowblood's a fun one. If I want to get into that, let me look. See what it is. Oh, The Great Dictator. Hey, I like that, Vineet. Lady Snowblood is also a rental. I've never seen it either. I have it on DVD, but unfortunately it's in a box at my parents' house in Iowa. But I know Criterion put out a nice blue of it. So that's also a rental. Great Dictator is. Man.
Ooh, that's fun.
Great Dictator's Charlie Chaplin's movie, his anti-Hitler movie. Let's do that.
That sounds awesome.
I never seen it. I need a good excuse to watch this. Yeah. Chaplin's a genius.
Plus we just watched
Django.
Well, yeah, but oh my god, Borat 2.
Borat 2, yes, which was compared to Great Dictator.
Yeah.
Okay, Vineet, great call. Thank you. Great job, nerd. Great Dictator, 1941, Charlie Chaplin's famous anti-Hitler movie.
Topical fuck fashion.
Topical,
etc.
Exactly. Down like a clown, Chaplin. Down like a clown. Asterisk. Chaplin is the clown.
That's cute.
You're cute, Vineet. I love you, dude. And let's do this. Let's do Great Dictator.
I love it.
Cool. I think I can do a staff pick here. Yeah, I got a staff pick. My staff pick is Female Prisoner Scorpion 701. Female Prisoner Scorpion 701. Seriously, it sounds like a mouthful. It sounds crazy. You're probably like, what is this? This sounds insane. It rules. If you watch it, you're going to say, wow, that ruled. You're going to say, I'm really happy I watched that. That movie was fucking dope as shit. That kicked ass. It was so violent and so fun. You're going to dig it. You're going to dig it. You're going to dig it. All right.
Available on Shudder.
Oh, it is. Okay, cool. The Great Dictator. I had a little bit of a... my staff pick will be Female Prisoner Scorpion. The first one, 701. Cool. And it's on Shudder. Great. Stephanie, do you have anything you're excited about?
Yeah, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. Cool.
That's my staff pick.
Cool. All right, y'all. We drop this in here. Take a photo because we always forget like 2 seconds after we log off. Blink. And let's go ahead and say this, y'all. Theme weeks have been so fun. Thank you for joining us for them. I want to let everyone know that theme weeks were Stephanie's idea. So Stephanie, thank you.
Thank you.
Made October really fun.
That was fun.
And I really appreciate it. Also, Stephanie, the show has gotten so much better since you've been here. And thank you for making us a wonderful spot in the backyard to watch movies on tape, too.
Aw, that's so sweet. This is really fun. I am very excited that this has become a space we all share.
Yeah. And y'all, share if you like it, subscribe, share it. We're trying to grow. We love having y'all here. Y'all are our day one people. Pathos, Great Job Nerds, ZPGB, Holden Look, my dude. Y'all are the day ones. Y'all are like our friends who are here. We love. I look forward to having this space to hang out with you. And no matter what happens, that's awesome. But we want to keep growing it. So share if you dig it. There's probably someone I forgot to mention. That was the one follower that left. They're like, well, Adam didn't mention me. Fuck him. Seriously. So, we'll be back next week, every Tuesday, and we'll be back next week. We're going to all try and watch The Great Dictator, Chaplin. Vinny, I'm going to let you know, I'm probably also going to try and watch Seven Samurai this week, so we can talk about that too. Other than that, is there anything else that I need to say?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This was a fun one. What do we say at the end?
All right, we say, hey, take care of yourselves out there. Watch more movies. Black lives still matter, even if it's not on your timeline. We love you. We got your back. Stay the fuck home for the love of God and get home safe.
Be kind, rewind.
Bing.